But if evolution is real, and if there is this
Is
constant, I don't know, but it's visible. Like you can measure it in certain animals.
You can measure adaptation.
Yeah.
But there's no evidence that in fact, I think we've kind of given up on the idea of evolution. The theory of evolution as articulated by Darwin is like kind of not true. Right?
In what sense?
Well, in the most basic sense, the idea that, all life emerged from a single cell organism and over time, and there would be a fossil record of that, and there's not. And
there's not a fossil record of transitionary species, like species that are adapting to its environment.
There's tons of record of adaptation, and you see it in your own life. I mean, I have a lot of dogs. I see adaptation in dogs, through the litter to litter. But no, there's no evidence at all zero, that, people, evolve seamlessly from a single cell amoeba. No, there's not. There's no chain in the fossil record of that at all. And that's why you don't actually hear people, you hear them make reference to evolution because the theory of adaptation is clearly, obviously true. But Darwin's theory's totally, that's why it's still a theory almost 200 years later, No, we have not found that at all. And I can't even guess. I mean, I have my own theories on it, but they're not proven.
What are your theories?
God created people, distinctly, and animals. I mean, I think what every person on Earth thought until the mid-19th century, actually.
Right, but
it's not a new idea.
They didn't have computers. They didn't have a general understanding that we have today of the process.
Do you think we understand more now?
Yes.
Really?
You don't think that we understand more today?
We understand way less. We understand so little that we're actually sitting here allowing, a bunch of greedy, stupid, childless software engineers in Northern California to flirt with the extinction of mankind.
Good morning, my beauties and bees. It is I, your host, Miss Bumblebee, and we are live from the Hive at 8:37 is where we're coming at you right now. And it is good to see all those gorgeous faces. Let me know if my audio is okay. It looks like it might be peaking a little high. Now, I'm going to warn you guys here in about 10 minutes, I got my coffee getting delivered because we were out of coffee, and I meant to get some at the grocery store yesterday, and I didn't get some, and now I had ordered some. So I went ahead and ordered Krispy Kreme and got donuts for me and my roommates. It was a surprise and a thank you for all the support they've given me over the last few months while I worked my way through a lot of stuff. So, yeah, got some donuts coming. So you may get to watch me eat a donut and drink a nice coffee later. But I will be stepping away for just a second to go pick it up from the delivery guy because I did ask for them to meet me at the door because they keep dropping stuff off at the wrong houses for us. Everybody except for DoorDash, but then DoorDash wants trans people to be known by their dead names to their customers. So we're not doing DoorDash anymore here. And if I encourage everybody else to look at that decision made by DoorDash and make a informed decision about whether or not they want to continue to work with DoorDash or not. So just throwing that out there. Happy birthday, Fox. Happy birthday. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Let me say good morning to everybody and say thank you for some of the stuff that's being dropped out here because we have Miss Lemon coming in bright and early. Miss Lemon, I was hanging out with last night and she was having a wreck of a migraine. She actually ended up going to the doctor for it, as you see in the chat there. And I sure hope that you get to sleep it off. That's what I want for you. Good morning, Captive Deaths Dave, and Deep Arcs is here. Why? Because Weak Bro is in the house. Good to see you this morning. We got Spooky Bed here. And who's your buddy? Good morning, good morning. Ember coming in without a word, just dropping 5 channel memberships like a boss. Oh my gosh, and those went to Miss Non Sequitur, Spooky. Oh, that's just Spooky saying hi. Wild World, Thomas, congratulations on becoming a cryptic creeper. Caterpillar, Captain Crockpot, and Sasquatch Secrets, that's Nikki. Welcome to the Hive. Yeah, you can now stomp around with Bigfoot feet and all that fun stuff. Then, not to be outdone, Who's Your Buddy comes in with 10 channel memberships. Always appreciate you. that landed on the beautiful and wonderful Maya Atkinson, uh, Dr. Osiris, Deep Arcs, Sumami, Ryan, Coltastic, Bryce Vining, and Arik Fox, James Nordhoff, Right-Handed Jedi, and KW. So welcome to the Hive, everybody. Welcome and good morning. Good morning, Greg. Good morning, AR. More people popping in. Good morning, Aunt Jur. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Hello, hello. So let me check on my order. Omar's on his way. Come on, Omar. And it looks like it's pushed back another 10 minutes. Wonderful. Don't sound like I'm on speakerphone, huh? Okay, let's see what's going on. What are we using? Is this ooh, oh my. Is that better? I was on the wrong mic, maybe, I think. Is that better? Let me know. Yeah, I switched, started using earbuds. Yeah, so it messed up my sound input. But yeah, it should be better now. If not a little bit too loud, maybe. I kind of backed it off. I can back it off just a little bit more. Yeah, thank you for letting me know. I've done whole shows like that where it's been in the wrong speaker. I think you all were picking me up from this speaker up here with this little camera doohickey, or maybe from these. Maybe it was picking me up through my earbuds. I'm not sure, but either way, it's fixed now. What's going on? So today we are finally getting to my jewels episode. So a few weeks back, I added cursed jewelry to the Weird With It lineup of poll questions on what you all wanted to see. And it won, and then it got overthrown right before the end of the week. So we didn't get to have it. I actually reached out to staff and said we were doing it, and then we didn't do it. Then last week, kind of the opposite happened. The show. What did we cover last week? Let me see. It was the Michigan Triangle. So the Michigan Triangle was ahead until Saturday morning when I got on here, and then the jewels were back on the top of the list, on the top of the polls. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to run a poll this week for that. We are going to go ahead and just do the jewels episode this week. So that's what we're doing for our weekly weirdness. But before we get into any of that, we got Cryptic Corner, of course, which I want to say it's a fan favorite, but it might just be a Bree favorite. It's my thing to do. Yeah, jewels from Pulp Fiction. Actually, yes, jewels. Oh, they shaved some time off. Good. All right. Well, I need to get my coffee before I can get my day started. I'm like, oh. So I'm just gonna hang here like this until the coffee arrives. No, I won't do that. Y'all are here to watch me be silly and have fun, and I hopefully could live up to that. Oh, we have cornered a cryptid. I'm the cryptid that you've cornered here. Yeah. Become something of a little bit of a celebrity at my new job because I was talking about my channel here, and then one of the people was like, "Hey, can I interview you about that for our Spirit Week thing for debunking, talking about MythBusters and stuff?" So we did that. It was fun, and yeah, and now I'm up on the company website, and they got like posters and stuff of me. It's crazy, and like everybody sees me like walking down the hall, like, "Oh, hi, B." It might help because I'm in El Paso, so I'm like the tall blonde white lady among all the local mostly Hispanic population. So I stick out like a sore thumb here, but that's okay. I kind of like the culture down here. Everybody's super nice, and I'm really starting to come into my own down here in El Paso. So Yay. Bree, you should sign up for that service that Surus has where people order him food and have it delivered to him. We could provide you buy your Saturday morning coffee for you. Oh, I would love that. That is something we should do. You know what that alarm means? It's Cryptic Corner time because it's 8:45 here. But I'm probably going to ramble on for just a minute longer to see if hopefully my delivery gets here. Now the time's been pushed back more. They did move it forward. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and, first things first, I'm going to see you guys in Cryptic Corner. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be a fun episode. I'll see you guys over there.
Did the evolutionists just kill a pterodactyl? Or did they finally catch up to the creationists?
Obviously, there's not going to be a ton of talk about these things. And the thing is, I do believe there was talk about these things. I believe if we study history, the Confederates were able to shoot pterodactyls, back in the Civil War. And they spread these things out. Anybody can look it up online. They spread these things out. And this is a historical fact. So, they spread this thing out, and it's got a huge wing length. And it's a pterodactyl they shot. So, of course, back in the Civil War.
Hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to another installment of Cryptic Corner, where we explore entities of the unexplained, supernatural, paranormal, and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. And today, today we are going kind of a different direction. We've done the black-eyed children before on the show. If you missed that episode, let me see. Let me see if I can drop a link to that. Yeah, black-eyed children. The BEKs, black-eyed kids, was something we did cover fairly recently. But those aren't the only colorful kids out there. And I thought that today I would, I didn't think today. I thought I would add it to the poll is actually what happened. Let me show you. So, we run a poll every week to see what you guys want to see on Cryptic Corner, right? And when we do, is that the one? No, that's crazy. That's showing you all my backstage. Get out of there. That's not for you guys to see. That's where that's how the sausage is made. That's the wrong one. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this one. This will fix it. You always got to start off with a flub, right? There we go. All right. So we run a poll every week. Run a little poll. Usually we have 4 options to see what we want to cover that week. This week had 3 humanoids on it, which is kind of rare, but
This is the mini hootney, which is the like Hawaiian Bigfoot. The Trinity Alps giant salamander, a alleged giant salamander from the mountains of California. Valiant Thor, a mysterious, allegedly extraterrestrial figure who was quite influential in the direction our country took, according to folklore. And then the last one, of course, was the Green Children of Woolpit. Now, the Green Children of Woolpit is, very folklorish, I guess. But there's a lot of variety and veracity to some of the aspects of the story that make it worth covering. Like, some of the people were actual real people, and but this took place a long time ago, so it's gonna be varied. But we'll get into it. We'll get into it right now. So, decided to go with Eerie Vault Strange Encounters UK, real voice, because it wants to make sure you know that it's not a AI voice, which I appreciate because it saves me time. But let's look at the kind of content that they put out. And we got Inhuman Encounters in Britain, Black Shuck, Britain's Werewolf Problem. Interesting. The Hexam Heads, of course, we covered that recently too. The Dechmont Woods incident, UFO case. The Devil's Footprints, the single file row of devil footprints. Woolpit, good. Yes, we are covering the children of Woolpit. Absolutely. The Green Children. And this is the guy that's going to read the story to us. Yeah, and I think it says AI art, but the story is what's important. So let's just dive in. And you have to let me know how the audio is on this too. All right.
The village of Woolpit in Suffolk is the setting for an absolutely fascinating tale that took place during the 12th century. The village and the surrounding countryside were rural and agricultural, with life largely revolving around the cycles of the seasons, the church.
Spooky, that's because you are the werewolf problem. Why do you think you wake up every morning after a full moon with tattered clothes and barefoot and muddy? Why do you think that is, Spooky? Werewolf problem.
And local feudal systems. Woolpit is actually derived from the Old English term wolf pit.
I gotta grab my
meaning,
stuff. I'll be right
surprisingly, wolf pit. These were deep traps that were dug into the ground intended to catch wolves that threatened the livestock and therefore the livelihood of local farmers. Wolves, which were common throughout medieval England, were considered a serious threat. These pits were simple constructions, holes dug deep enough so that once a wolf fell in, it just wouldn't be able to climb back out. The traps were baited with carrion, camouflaged with branches and leaves to lure wolves onto them. Once trapped, the wolves could be killed by the villagers, protecting the community and its animals. It was in this setting, during the late summer harvest, that something unusual happened. The villagers, busy gathering the crops, noticed movement near one of the old wolf pits. Upon closer inspection, they discovered two young children, one boy and one girl, standing at the edge of the pit. What immediately struck the villagers was not just their sudden appearance from nowhere, but the strange colour of their skin. These children were green.
All right, I let him ramble on for a little bit. I have to pop in and say something now because I can't just watch his video and profit off that, of course. But my coffee has arrived, so small favors. And I got donuts again for my roommates and me, so I'm gonna actually send a medication. I'm gonna send a message. I'm going to say just, I got some donuts. Yum, yum. I wish I didn't have to talk to the guy. He's about to walk away, though. It's like he's only been here a minute. Anyway, getting distracted. Yeah, it does explain a lot, Spooky. That's what I'm saying. That's why you're so spooky, too, because if you've seen American Werewolf in London, ghosts follow werewolves around. Ghosts are the people they eat. So, yeah, that's why you're so spooky.
Their skin an unnatural shade that the villagers had never seen before. In addition to their green skin, the children were dressed in unfamiliar clothing. The fabric and style were unlike anything the villagers recognized, which raised questions about where exactly these children had come from. Moreover, the children spoke in a language that none of the villagers could understand. The boy and the girl were clearly frightened, their eyes wide, darting between the villagers, and their hands clung to each other as though seeking protection. It was clear that they just didn't understand where they were, nor did they recognize the people standing around them.
Good morning.
In the close-knit community of Woolpit, where every face was known and every family had a place, the sudden appearance of these two unknown children caused an incredible stir. Word of the discovery spread quickly.
Now, I mean, to be clear, Woolpit's not like some backwoods place, right? It's like right here in what is this? It's Essex, right? Yeah, like in the heart of Essex. Not far from Ipswich. It's right here. Still exists as a little town, so. But yeah, if a little town like that would have had their own sort of lordship and stuff that dictated how things like this would be handled.
Through the village, and it wasn't long before more villagers came to see the green-skinned children for themselves. The sight was so unusual that it defied simple explanation, and with the villagers unable to communicate with the children, they were left with far more questions than answers. Unsure of what to do next, the villagers...
Is Essex kind of rural? And I thought Essex was more like the urban type area. Am I wrong? I could be wrong. I'm wrong about lots of stuff.
Decided to take the
I'm wrong 3 times before I even get my coffee.
Children to someone who might be able to help. In a time when the local nobility played a key role in the governance and protection of the community, it was natural for villagers to turn to Sir Richard de Calne. As a knight and a figure of authority, Sir Richard held influence in Woolpit and the surrounding area. He was known to be a man of good standing, connected to the church and involved in local affairs. If anybody could make sense of this, it would be him. Arriving at Sir Richard's home, the children were placed under his care. The household attempted to feed the children, offering them the usual fare of bread and meat and other foods typical of the medieval diet. However, the children refused all the food that was placed before them, and despite their obvious hunger, they seemed unable or unwilling to eat anything.
Have you seen what people in medieval Europe were eating? Especially in UK. I mean, they're probably offering these kids like haggis and stuff. Ew. No, I've never had haggis, but like the idea of it is could be off-putting. And the smell of a lot of foods could be off-putting. So I don't blame kids from a foreign land for being off-put about the offered fare of the medieval villagers. What, no potatoes? No, because this is the 12th century or 13th century. Potatoes came from the New World, so potatoes would not enter into the picture until after 1492. So now, no potatoes, no tomatoes, but apparently green beans.
Offered by their hosts. This refusal added another layer to the puzzle. The children's rejection of food wasn't a matter of simple dislike. It seemed to stem from a absolute...
Wait a second. I just think I found a hole in the story here, but we'll get to it in just a second.
Familiarity with the items that were presented. As the days passed and the children grew weaker, Sir Richard's household became increasingly concerned. The green-skinned children, who had already arrived in a state of disorientation and fear, were now at risk of starving.
I like how the artist just like, oh yeah, they have pointed ears too. They had elfy ears just to make them seem a little bit more otherworldly.
It was clear that something needed to be done, but without knowing their language or understanding their needs, it seemed impossible to help them. The villagers and Sir Richard's household could only watch and hope for a solution to present itself. Finally, a breakthrough came by accident. The children were shown green beans, still in their pods, fresh from the fields, to the relief of those caring for them.
You know what bombshell Miss Bree has for you today? Now I just mentioned that potatoes are a new world crop, that there were no potatoes in the UK until after 1492. Did you notice that when I mentioned tomatoes are a new world crop, and there were no tomatoes in the UK before 1492? Well, my beauties and bees, I have a bombshell about green beans. There were no green beans in Woolpit in the 1300s. There just weren't, because green beans come from Central and South America. They too are a new world crop.
The children immediately recognized the beans and ate them with apparent eagerness. It seemed that despite their earlier refusals, the green beans were a food familiar to them. While the girl's health
maybe these were Aztec children,
began to improve, her brother remained weak. Despite the care he received, he grew increasingly ill. Not long after the children were baptized, a common practice in medieval England, especially in cases where illness or death seemed imminent, the boy
maybe that wasn't
away.
the bombshell that I thought it was going to be about the green beans. But I hate to throw a freaking big ass monkey wrench into this video 5 minutes in, but come on now. Yeah, I'm surprised they said, oh, they fed them corn, because green beans. When you think of new world crops, the corn, tomatoes, squash, potatoes are the crops you think of. I think the corn and squash are two of the three sisters. What's the other of the three sisters? It might be beans. It might be green beans. Beans, squash, and corn. Yeah. Obviously, these kids came from America. Yeah, and they probably had like Jersey accents, like New Jersey. They're probably like, forget about it. And like, hey, you want something? We don't want none of that stinking haggis.
Sister to carry on the mystery of their arrival. The girl, as she regained her strength, began to learn the local language. Slowly, she adapted to her new environment, though the questions surrounding her and her brother's origins remained unanswered. As the weeks passed and her ability to communicate improved, she would eventually lose her green colour, and her skin looked much more human. She would one day tell a story of where
you calmed She-Hulk down. That's why you gotta say, sun's getting real low there, big gal. And like, what's her paw? Then she'll turn white. Yeah. This could be a metaphor for colonialism too, or for gentrification.
They had come from, but her account would only deepen the mystery that had already fascinated the villagers of Woolpit. As the girl learned the local language, she began to reveal more about her origins, telling the villagers of a place she called St. Martin's.
See, and that's the thing too. Like, I'll watch video upon video of these cryptic corner topics that I cover. Watch videos after videos. I'll read articles and stuff in preparation, and sometimes the most stuff that sets the story tightly into the realm of fiction just flies over everybody's heads. How does nobody who's researched this story thought, hey, how could they feed the kids green beans when green beans didn't exist in the UK at this time?
Land. According to her account, this land was very different from Woolpit and the surrounding countryside. In St. Martin's Land, the sun never fully rose, and the light was always dim, casting the entire world in a perpetual twilight. It was a strange, shadowy place where the people lived in a state of half-light, never experiencing the full warmth and brightness of the sun. The girl described her homeland as a place divided by a great river. On one side of the river there was the land where she and her brother had lived, bathed in twilight. On the other side there was a land of brilliant, blinding light, a place they had never visited, but which they had been told about. The people of St. Martin's Land, the girl explained, were like...
You are right, Aunt Jur. I should not be allowing people to hear my throat muscles working without paying that extra fee. So...
her and her brother with the same green skin and unfamiliar customs. One day, while herding their father's cattle, the children had heard a strange sound, like the ringing of bells. Drawn to the sound, they followed it into a cave, venturing deeper and deeper into the darkness. And before they knew it, they'd emerged on the other side, disoriented and confused.
So they had cattle. Was the cattle green too? Green cattle?
Finding themselves in the bright, unfamiliar world of Woolpit. The journey through the cave had been sudden and inexplicable, and they had no memory of how they had crossed from their world into this one.
Doo-doo-doo.
The story of the Green Children did not remain confined to the village of Woolpit. It was recorded in two separate chronicles written by medieval historians William of Newburgh and Ralph of Coggeshall. These Latin texts...
What are you saying, John? The kids were green from smoking too much tobacco. I do remember my first cigarette turned me pretty green. Yeah, I remember that too. I remember my first cigarette. Of course, I remember my first time like really smoking some weed too. I was laid out in the grass for like 45 minutes just staring at the stars. It was a love affair that never ended, I'll tell you right now. Don't eat green beef. What about green eggs and ham? Would you eat green eggs and ham?
Provide the primary sources for the tale, and their preservation has ensured that the mystery of the Green Children continues to be studied and debated.
Good morning,
centuries
Theo.
after the events took place. William of Newburgh, a monk and historian...
Europeans introduced children to the New World. Before 1492, there were no children here. That is an interesting hypothesis. I think there's some mummies and stuff of kids, but those were obviously planted by the Illuminati to throw us off of the true history. And green chicken and pigs for green eggs and ham. You can, we did this experiment when I was in science class in junior high. Like you take the dye and you inject it into the egg, right? And your chick will come out with that color of feathers. So we had, obviously they molt out into regular chicken colors, but like when they're little though, if you inject the dye into the eggs, we had pink and green and blue and purple and orange chicks. Yeah, it was really fun to do. But yeah, they molt out of it, of course. But you can make green chickens though. I don't think that would work with a pig though. Now, there are dogs. Oh my gosh, I should bring this up. The green puppies. Not from Blue's Clues. Green puppy. It's a rare but harmless phenomena. But we'll bring that up. Just real quick.
We knew that she was different right away.
Okay. So you see this little green puppy here.
We knew that she was different right away. With light-colored dogs, it is common to have a little bit of green or maybe a few spots, but then the mom cleans them up and it's gone. But what happened with Shamrock when it was this deep, dark, rich lime green, I thought, well, I'll get some water on it.
One of the other puppies has some green to it too.
Cloth, and we'll clean up. That green was not going away. That is not common at all. In fact, we've talked to our vet about it. She has never seen anything quite like that. She was exposed to Billy Verdon in the womb, and that caused the green to come. It's a green bile salt, and she was exposed to a lot of it. It was pretty vibrant for about 3 weeks, and then for another couple weeks, it was it was fading, and then now she's where it's just a little bit here and there. So we waited about 4 weeks to share Shamrock with the world, and so we just wanted to make sure that she was okay. She is healthy, she's happy, she is feisty.
Shamrock, such a cute name. All right, yeah, I just wanted to show you that there are reasons why, you know, a mammal might come out green, but not the green wouldn't last this long. All right. Where were we? Here we are.
Was known for his skepticism of fantastical stories, yet even he found the account of the Green Children compelling enough to include in his chronicle. William's account is brief, but it's detailed, describing the discovery of the children, their green skin, and the strange tale of their origins in St. Martin's Land. Despite his usual caution in reporting supernatural events, William seems to have taken the story seriously. Ralph of Coggeshall.
So I understand that, like, if you're exposed to a lot of gamma radiation, though, too, when you have an emotional reaction, it can turn you green. But I've never actually seen that play out in real life.
Abbott and chronicler wrote a more extensive account of the Green Children, offering additional details about their behaviour and the circumstances of their discovery. Ralph's version of the story includes descriptions of the children's refusal to eat, their eventual adaptation to their new environment, and the girl's account of St. Martin's Land. Like William, Ralph recorded the events with a sense of curiosity, preserving the story for future generations. Both William and Ralph's chronicles reflect the medieval mindset, in which the boundaries between the natural and supernatural worlds were quite fluid. Strange events were often seen as signs from God, or as manifestations of the unknown forces that shape the world. The inclusion of the Green Children's story in these respected chronicles suggests that the events in Woolpit were considered significant enough to be remembered, even if they could not be fully explained. The Latin texts of William and Ralph remain the foundation of all later interpretations of the Green Children, and over the centuries these chronicles have been studied and analysed by historians, folklorists, even scientists.
Jennifer Walters doesn't need the emotional trigger. She just chooses to change. Because she has control over her emotions, though. Has more control over her emotions. Where Bruce did not. My green eyes turn blue when I'm pissed off. My eyes change. I have hazel eyes that change color no matter, depending on what I'm wearing. So some days look like I have blue eyes. Some days look like I have green eyes or gray eyes. Even golden eyes. Only eyes I don't have ever is brown eyes, which is kind of weird because that's the most common eye color. But brown eyes can be so beautiful, though. I love deep, dark brown eyes. Look like you're looking into a forest at night.
Each seeking to understand the meaning behind the mysterious events that they describe. The story of the Green Children has therefore given rise to numerous theories about their origins, ranging from the mundane to the absolutely fantastical. Over the centuries, scholars and researchers have proposed a variety of explanations, each attempting to make sense of the mystery while respecting the historical and cultural context of the time.
So, AR, I just want to clarify so we don't spread misinformation. There's been no reports that these children were jolly. No reports at all that say we're jolly. You're just spreading pseudoscience in my chat, AR. Come on now.
One of the more grounded theories suggests that the children were in fact the descendants of Flemish immigrants who had settled in England during the 12th century. The Flemish people, who came from what is now Belgium and the Netherlands, were often persecuted and driven from their homes by political turmoil. Some historians speculate that the children might have come from a nearby Flemish settlement that had been attacked. Their green skin could have been the result of malnutrition or...
Yeah, because this is in the 13th century, right? So you have to keep in mind that England, or what we think of as England, wasn't like a united front, right? It was there was constant colonization and war. Yes, Bree, clothing color can change the appearance of my eyes and color as well. Yes, or my eye color as well. Yes, that's me too. Theo is team brown eyes. I'm gonna make you brown eyes. I think brown eyes are so beautiful. Brown eyes are beautiful. All human eyes are beautiful. I love that humans have such a variety of eye shades. Yeah, it is hard not to be an asshole. Maybe they came from Greenland. Yeah, there we go.
Illness. In this interpretation, the children's strange language was simply Flemish, which the villagers of Woolpit would not have recognized. Another theory...
So, here's the thing, right? They say the people wouldn't have recognized it, but when we look at the map, okay, so people right over here spoke Flemish, right? There were Flemish people, because here's Belgium, right? In the Netherlands. This is the region that the Flemish folks generally came from. So they would have been just across this little strait, and there would have been mainland trade. I mean, obviously, here's Dover, right? That's the main European port at the time. But, all these ports would have worked because people would have been coming back and forth from all over. So to say that people from here wouldn't know the language of the people from here, at least wouldn't be familiar with them having this weird language, and not enough to say, hey, maybe they're speaking the language of the people across the sea. That's sus to me. That's sus. I'm just going to close this because I keep clicking on it. There we go.
Theory posits that the children were suffering from a condition known as chlorosis, or green sickness, often said to be a form of anemia caused by poor diet. This condition can cause the skin to take on a greenish tint, supposedly, particularly in malnourished children. The children's diet in St. Martin's Land may have been severely limited, leading to their green skin, which faded as they began to eat a more varied diet in Woolpit. More speculative theories suggest that the children may have come from a hidden, isolated community, possibly located underground or in a remote, uncharted area. This theory draws on the children's descriptions of St. Martin's Land, with its dim light and strange customs. Some have even suggested that the children might have been from another world.
When you say a malnourished child looks green, I don't even want to pull up these pictures. They're horrible. But it's not green like that. It's green like, I can't even look at them anymore. It's green like a sickly green, like how you turn green when you feel sick. That's the kind of green that you get when you're malnourished like that. Not lime green Hulk skin. Not Grinch. You don't turn into the Grinch or Kermit the Frog. Yeah. This little girl was like, it ain't easy being green. So then she wasn't.
Entirely. Perhaps visitors from a parallel dimension or an extraterrestrial civilization. Folklorists have also explored the possibility that these children were connected to the fairy traditions of medieval England. In many stories, fairies are depicted as otherworldly beings who live in hidden realms.
Yo, the blue fugates. Yeah, I know the blue fugates from Appalachia. That was, yeah, we'll have to talk about them sometime too. So we got green children in the UK. You got blue children in the US. You got black-eyed kids everywhere.
Often accessed through caves and forests. The children's sudden appearance in...
Hey, my unfinished journey. Appreciate you. Thank you for promoting my content across social media. I really do appreciate it. Everybody should be like my unfinished journey and just like post... Like, every time I got something live coming up, you share it on all your social media accounts and demand that your followers come watch me.
Woolpit, along with their strange behaviour and otherworldly appearance, has led some to interpret the story as a manifestation of fairy folklore. The tale of the Green Children has persisted through the centuries, inspiring countless retellings and interpretations. It's been adapted.
So, Right-Handed Sith says, the common person didn't travel much unless you lived in a trade city. You mostly only knew your birth language. Even 10 miles is enough to separate. But yeah, you didn't really travel much more than 30 miles from the place you were born at this time. Most people didn't, unless you were like a merchant or something. But trade did come to your little village from these places. And trade would have came from mainland Europe. And trade would have come from mainland Europe along with knowledge of the fact that they spoke. Not necessarily that the people would have known the language, but that there was a different language, right? That there were other languages that these children could be speaking. Well, that's my point. I guess that's my point on this one.
Adapted into literature, art, and even modern media, with each generation finding a new meaning in the mystery. The story's themes of otherworldliness and survival and the unexplained continue to resonate, particularly in a world where the boundaries between the known and the unknown are constantly shifting.
And I mean, there's a lot of fairy folklore and stuff
Has
that
it been
would have
accurately
associated- or would have been evoked about this too, because this was a part of the world that was very steeped in fairy lore.
Faithfully represented in its retellings. I don't know about you, but I cannot read Latin. And really, if we want to understand this tale, we need to read the Latin text.
Me either. I need to get Ben in here. Ben can read some Latin.
First hand, don't we? I can find the Ralph of Coggeshall text on the Internet Archive. What a fabulous place. And there is a preface in the book that is in English. I like the sound of this other story about Malkin, but maybe this one's for another video look. Of a more dubious character are the wild stories about the merman captured at the Sea of Orford, of the green boy and girl, and of the house haunted by the familiar spirit called Malkin. Let's see if we can find anything about that for another video. The section dealing with the...
Malkin, I know Grey Malkin was the name of the cat. Is that Hamlet? The witch's cat, yeah. But, so Malkin means cat in like the old like Briton, I guess that would be. Britannian. Well, because even Britannia has Roman origins. It's not native to the island, right? Britannia, Britain in general, the British Empire, it's not like a native empire. I mean, they're native now, naturalized or whatever, but there were people that have been living there for thousands of years before the Romans came, right? Who had their own languages and their own cultures and things like that, and lived in different village settings, different clan settings, different ways of life that might have been completely alien to the folks in this village in Woolpit if someone was traveling with their kids and their kids got lost, right? I'm not saying that's what happened, but there's a lot of factors that could come into play for this.
Green Children is titled De Quodam Puero et Pue de Terra Emergentibus. And I know I said I don't read Latin, and clearly I don't speak it either. I gave it a shot, you guys. Anyway, I'm obviously going to run this through some online translation tools to see what we can determine from the original reports. And if anything has been misreported...
That is the great thing about living in modern times, is we can take like Latin, old Latin words, and we can run them through a system that'll translate it for us as best as possible and try to give us some kind of idea what's being said.
In subsequent retellings. I can't vouch for the accuracy of the tools I will use, but we'll have to try something, won't we? So, here's one translation. Another male...
Who's your buddy? I blame the church for that. That's why. Latin was the language of the scholars at this time in the UK. I think at this time there would have still been like some pagan influences on the fringes, but things would have been heavily Catholic at this time.
Novel, not unlike the previous one, occurred in Suffolk at St Mary's of Woolpit. A certain boy, along with his sister, was found by the inhabitants of that place near the edge of a pit which is located there. They had the appearance of all their body parts similar to other humans, but the colour of their skin differed from all mortals in our inhabited world.
There's some words that even me as a Romanic language individual, there's words that I can pick out just from what I know, like homini means person, right? Similim, the same. There's color. We see color there. We see habitat. We see viridi, which is green color. So even without the translator, there's some words we can pick out here to kind of get an idea what they're talking about. Just saying.
The entire surface of their skin was dyed with a green colour. No one could understand their language. These children were brought to the house of a certain knight, Lord Richard de Calne, at Wyke, where they cried inconsolably out of fear. Bread and other food were set before them, but they refused to eat anything that was offered, even though they were suffering greatly from hunger, because they believed that all such food was inedible, as the girl later confessed. At last, when beans, recently cut with the stalks, were brought into the house, they eagerly signaled that they wished to be
So it's just beans, not green beans, because you said green beans earlier, and green beans, as we've discussed, are not native.
given the beans. However, when the beans were brought before them, they opened the stalks, not the pods, thinking that the beans were contained in the hollow of the stalks. When they did not find the beans in the stalks, they began to cry again. Observing this, those present opened the pods and showed the beans, and when the children saw them, they ate them with great delight, not touching any other food for a long time. The boy, however...
Right there it says millet. So millet is... Oh, hold on, one L. That's two L's. Yeah, millet seed grain. So millet is not a bean, it's a grain, but they kind of look like beans, kind of like chickpeas is what they remind me of. But let me pull one up for you. So this is millet. And I can see like it's beany enough. Like I said, it's like a chickpea kind of. But that's the word I'm seeing. I could be wrong if that's what this word is. The predicti millet. Prediciti milletis. It makes me sound like they're saying that they would only eat millet. But sanguinem legume.
constantly seemed to be depressed by a sort of languor and died shortly after. The girl, on the other hand, eventually recovered fully, became accustomed to eating various foods, and gradually lost her green colour, regaining the usual complexion of her body. After being regenerated by the sacrament of holy baptism, she lived for many years in the service of the aforementioned knight, as we frequently heard from the...
They claim they climbed out of a cave. We'll get into it more. There's more, another version of this that he's going to read to us as well. This is just the first version. This is the more down-to-earth version of the story. The next one's kind of gets a little more out there. But did they climb out of the wolf pit from their underground world? Sort of. No.
Knight and his family. When frequently asked about the people of her country, she asserted that all the inhabitants and everything...
What is... fish eggs? That's grain. Prosos millet. It's a type of grain. It's not fish eggs. Stop it. Look. For anybody doubting me, millet is a type of grain. Looks like this on the stalk. But I'm okay with them calling it beans, except for the thing is it's not held in a pod, so that's kind of weird. But I digress. I need to get through this.
In that region were tinged with a green colour, and that they did not see the sun,
I'm
but
gonna speed our
enjoyed a
homie up a
certain
little bit,
dim
though.
light, like what occurs after sunset. When asked how she and the boy had arrived in this land, she responded that while following their livestock, they entered a certain cave. Upon entering, they heard the delightful sound of bells, and captivated by the sweetness of the sound, they wandered through the cave for a long time, until they came to its exit. When they emerged from the cave, they were overwhelmed and stunned by the brightness of the sun and the unfamiliarity of the atmosphere, and they lingered near the edge of the cave, almost in a state of shock. They lay in the caves, and when they were frightened by the disturbance of those who came upon them, they wanted to flee, but they could not find the entrance to the cave until they were captured by them. It's a short piece. I was expecting a big, long story, to be honest, but there it is. Interestingly, the area of Suffolk where Woolpit exists is characterised by its low-lying countryside, which is largely composed of chalk, clay, and other pretty soft sedimentary rocks that don't typically form large natural caves. Additionally here, the account says that the journey through the cave took a long time, whereas my initial leads into this story suggested otherwise, that the journey was almost instantaneous. The other text, the Historia Rerum Anglicarum, says this. There is a village in East Anglia said to be 4 or 5 miles distant from the noble monastery of the Blessed King and Martyr, Edmund. Near this village...
Now, there are caves in Essex. Caves in Essex. Lots of them, actually. I mean... No, that's not Essex. What are you doing? Anyway, yeah. But they're usually pretty shallow caves because of the limestone. But, I mean, obviously we have to go. Mullet is a type of fish. Mullet is a type of fish. Pretty sure I ran a D&D adventure back in the 90s. Language changed a great deal since then. It's possible that Militus back then was something different.
The ancient pits can be seen, which in English language are called wolf pits, and they give their name to the village to which they are adjacent. From these pits, during the time of harvest, when the reapers were occupied in gathering the crops in the fields, there emerged 2 children, a boy and a girl, entirely green in body and of an unusual colour, clothed in garments of unknown material. As they wandered in amazement through the field, they were captured by the reapers and taken to the village. Many people gathered to witness such a novelty. And for a few...
Calling the villagers that were going to capture them the reapers makes it sound so ominous. They're really like people cutting grain with the scythe. Called the reapers.
Few days they were kept without food. As they were nearly perishing from hunger and refused all the food that was offered to them, it happened that beans were brought in from the fields. They immediately seized them, but sought to find the beans inside the stalks, and finding nothing in the hollow of the stalks, began to cry bitterly. Then one of those present, opening the pods, offered the beans to them, which they readily accepted and ate. They lived on this food for several months, until they learned to eat bread. Finally, as the nature of our food prevailed, they gradually changed their colour and became like us, and they also learned to speak our language. It seemed wise to those who cared for them that they should receive the sacrament of holy baptism, which they did. However, the boy, who appeared to be the younger of the two, after living only a short time following his baptism, died an untimely death. The girl remained...
You probably, like... He was probably diseased from the baptism water. Like, they've done research that holy water that's like super, super gross and dangerous. Because of, everybody sticks their hands and their face and everything else into the holy water, so it's all contaminated. It's an easy way to pass diseases around your whole parish, right? Like, plagues. Plagues can be facilitated by the church via baptism. Just food for thought.
Alive and in good health, and different in no way from the women of our race. It is said that she later married, and a few years ago, she was still alive. Now, not a lot else to go on, is there?
Our race, huh?
A huge amount of research.
What is our race? Or is he talking about the human race or the British race?
Research into this, however, has been done by Duncan Lunan, who published a book titled Children from the Sky. It's an evocative title, and it suggests extraterrestrial origins, of course. And whilst the research is impressive, and the speculation in there is absolutely fascinating, it is quite a tough read. The way the book is written is absolutely necessary to establishing this tale as a real event that happened to real people, but it is really, really heavy going. Nevertheless, it's a vital part of the puzzle for anybody interested in this tale. So a lot of what I'll now discuss is largely influenced by that research and is augmented by my own speculation and questioning. Lunan makes a point of the following things, which are either pertinent to the direction of this video will take, or are at least of interest in the whole tale. Number 1, the girl apparently claimed that in her land not everything is actually green, only the things that are safe to eat. My question there is, if it's things that are safe to eat, then why are the people green as well? Number 2,
because they're soylent green people. Soylent green people. You can eat them.
Children actually did not say they were herding the cattle. The direct translation from the Latin text is that they said they were following the cattle.
Was it cattle? Because if are they confirming that there are cows that live in this subterranean world? Are these fairy cows? Because there are fairy cows in folklore, and they're actually dangerous to try to take them.
And Lunan places great importance on the difference between herding and following. Number 3. Chlorosis, widely said to be a possible cause for the green skin, is a disease that is questionable and might actually be a catch-all term for anemia and anorexia and depression in adolescents. Number 4, the children were actually well at the point they were discovered because they subsequently survived a period of starvation where they wouldn't eat anything. Number 5, in Greece and Rome, a well-known way to defend yourself against evil spirits is to spit beans at them. Pliny's Natural History said that the souls of the dead resided in beans, and Japan has a similar custom of throwing beans at demons to get them out of your house and usher in good fortune. Number 6, Woolpit was not some isolated country bumpkin village. It was a transport and trade hub, meaning that villagers would likely recognise the dialects of a wide range of European languages, maybe not well enough to speak in those tongues.
Now that's what I was saying, yeah, that people should have been able to, not necessarily say that they would understand the Flemish, but they were close enough to a Flemish trade route, right? Or at least a Belgium trade route, where imports that have gone through Belgian customs and would have, papers with Belgian text on them and things like that as far as the shipping records go. These people would have been familiar with the existence of these other cultures, right? And these other languages. But I do kind of wonder why is this Elphaba?
Probably well enough to recognise them. At least if the villagers had spent enough time with the Flemish people to be able to have enough of a hatred towards them that they persecuted them, then they would recognise bits of the lingo. Nobody recognised the language that these children were speaking. Number 7, the Latin text says that the children's skin was dyed green. Number 8, there are to be found factual, fictional and speculative versions of this tale. Number 9, subsequent retellings of the account impose their own theories onto the subject. And number 10, Lunan admits, so does he. And in fact, so shall I, in this video. And whilst Lunan goes into extraordinary factual and speculative detail, I can't possibly spend the time digesting it all. There are multiple threads and dead ends in the book, and honestly finding a cohesive outcome is really, really difficult, I find. But then again, this channel is all about the what if, isn't it? So be aware that my research is far-reaching, but
that's a possibility too. Ancient child trafficking. I mean, it's more likely that they were... my speculation is that these people were children of like a trader from somewhere Mediterranean. That's my speculation. I don't have any proof of that. That's just, the most logical thing that I can think of.
Cursory, and my understanding might not be the most solid, but that's what the comment section is for, isn't it? For your theories and your facts to be offered up, and not just to mock my accent. There's more to the tale, and it was provided supposedly by the girl herself when she had eventually grown and married and become a functioning member of society. Not only that, but it appears she occupied some position of authority. When she was later asked about the people of her country, she swore on oath that all the inhabitants and plants there were dyed with the colour green. She said that they came from the land of St. Martin. We are people of the land of St. Martin, who of course in the land of our birth is held in the very highest exceptional respect. We remember this much, because on a certain day we were driving to...
So the fact that they would have a saint makes me think that, oh, yeah, she's insisting that these underground kingdom was Catholic, which is, yeah, a little bit out there.
Pasture, adding to our father's animals in the fields, we heard a certain great sound which we now are accustomed to hear at St. Edmund's when they say the bells are ringing. And when we turned our minds to that sound, which surprised us, suddenly, unawares, as if placed in some loss of mind, we found ourselves in the field where you were reaping. When they were asked if they believed in Jesus and whether the sun rose, they said that the land was Christian and had churches. But the sun, they said, of our countries does not rise. And
Dave says, my mother told a story about my aunt babysitting me and freaked out because I pooped green peas. It was peas, yeah. I remember when I was a little kid and we had a puppy and it ate a box of crayons and it pooped rainbows for a couple of days and it was fantastic. I was so excited about it. I mean, looking back now, it's like, ew, but yeah. I thought it was just the coolest thing ever.
And our country is little lit by its rays, but it is satisfied with that measure of light, which with you precedes sunrise or follows sunset. Moreover, far off a certain bright land is seen, not far from our land, with a very broad river dividing the two. Ralph de Coggleshaw says she was in the employ of Edward de Calner as Ministerio Praedicti Militis, translated as she remained in the service of the aforementioned knight, which Lunan suggests probably means she was an estate manager or manor house keeper, given that ministerio is where we get today's words minister and ministry from, and therefore are not analogous to a job such as a cleaner or a maid. This position is then used to bolster Lunan's opinions around the origins of the girl, and that it had been claimed that she was merely a runaway from some savage English...
So she took like a church position is kind of what I'm picking up on here, which makes sense because a lot of orphans will find themselves leaning heavily into the charity of the church at this time, right? Basically completely dependent on it until they can support themselves. So it makes sense that that someone who was raised by such charity might want to might want to pay that forward by participating and becoming part of the ministry itself. Just a thought.
Tribe. The fact that she was able to learn language, obtain a high position on the knight's estate, suggests that her intelligence is advanced and therefore the savage theory is less likely. I assume it's Latin that she learned as well as English, and this led to a whole new life, and she was christened in the Christian faith, which means...
Good morning, Rainbow Wrath. Good morning.
She would have been given a name, and this has been put forward via various publications across the centuries as Sally, Barbara, Peregrine, Adela, and Elderflower. The author...
Elphaba. Elphaba is her name. We all know the story. Elphaba.
Lunan, after a meandering but admittedly necessary trip through property and marriage records, comes to the conclusion that the girl was probably christened as Agnes, a real person with real records. She existed. She was married, apparently, to a Richard Barr, an archdeacon.
Strange skies.
But here's where things get weird. In particular, Lunan sets out his stall by talking in depth, not about the children particularly at first, but rather about a book by Robert...
So glad to hear that, Native Atheist. Which one did you get? Which shirt did you pick out? I've sold the Bigfoot and the Mothman ones are the most popular, for sure. The Fresno Nightcrawler one is for a limited time only because that's going to be going to go off the market in June for the Roswell shirt that's coming out.
Robert Burton from 1621 titled The Anatomy of Melancholy, in which, among many other subjects, is a discussion about meteorology and astronomy. The author was particularly interested in contemporary theorists, proving that the planets were actual worlds, showing therefore that space could be navigable and was a medium that was traversable, rather than, from what I can gather, was a prevailing theory that the lights in the sky were some sort of crystalline shells suspended or held in a solid substance. This meant that space travel, therefore, was probably possible. And it's
That's kind of a cool that they were like thinking about that stuff way, way, way back then. You think it was Mothman. Awesome. The Mothman shirt is amazing. And I made that myself. I just cut up parts of different Mothmen from different places, put together. I use Inkscape to make those. All of them are, I don't want to say it's original art because they're made up of bits and pieces of other pieces of art that have been tweaked and adjusted. But they're, I guess, it's like a collage kind of. But yes, please order some Cryptic Corner shirts. Deep Arcs has an amazing Mothman shirt. Dave has the Swamp Booger Bigfoot shirt. I think somebody ordered a Jersey Devil shirt and somebody else ordered a Mothman shirt, but I'll have to look. But there's been a few ordered. They're not like flying off the shelves or anything, but yeah, I'm glad you all appreciate them and are getting are ordering them because I did put so much love into making them. So
it so happens that at the time of the discovery of these children, there were other strange things happening in the sky and other events that related to their arrival. Auroral displays, something referred to as an odd unmoving stare, and an account of a crescent moon that seemingly opened at one end of the arcs and spewed out a load of flame into space, and distorting the lower crescent, making it appear to wind about like a snake. You can speculate at will on what these things might have been. Now, this is all told in a chapter titled Making an Impact with King Henry, and having listened to an interview with Lunan, I know where he's going with this, but again, I have to say this book, it just meanders.
Say what? The moon spit out green flames, and it turned all the kids green, probably.
It's off into hyper explanation, and you'd soon forget what the point of what you're reading is.
Yes, yeah. There's tons of cool just Hive Psi logo shirts. They got the classic bee and the classic tarantula shirt, the classic hornet and the classic tarantula shirt, and then we also have the pride socks. So I think I'm probably going to get me some of those pride socks.
So I love to indulge in that level of research myself, but I know it's far too much for somebody watching a video. So yes, it's a criticism, but it's one made through admiration of the work. So what's all this got to do with King Henry then? Well, to give you the gist of it, it seems that King Henry had a real interest in this kind of thing. He viewed Woolpit as a particularly active area, and indeed at one point annexed the village. Now this confused me at first because I assumed the king just owned everything, but in those feudal times, the area was probably under the control of a nobleman or religious institution or something. So he was keen enough to have first dibs on this area that he saw as being of particular interest.
Well, there's like generally there was like a landlord, right? And he leased plots out to serfs, and they toiled in those fields, and these people, the reapers were reaping grain, the hunter was hunting, the fisherman was fishing, whatever, but they all paid fealty to a lordship who actually was the lord of that land. That's where we get the term landlord from.
expert in the scope of strange things happening in the sky, so you can absolutely bet London to a brick that he heard about the Green Children. In fact, Lunan is positive that Henry was in fact expecting something to happen and had made backup plans in his known absence in some war that he was fighting that Richard de Calne would take charge of anything odd that happened in that area. From there,
I don't know if there were any Muhammad sightings when the moon opened up and spit green fire. That would make sense, though. That would check out.
So many threads, both in the book and in other media concerning the case, the assimilation of the girl into the greater family of King Henry on one side, the possibility of the children being accidentally returned to Earth from an Earth-like planet upon which thousands of abducted humans have lived for centuries on another, the possibility of the children just being Flemish immigrants, or the even more grounded theory that the kids were just actually from the next village over, which, coincidentally, happened to have a church called St. Martin's in it. All these ingredients, these weird kids, the bells, the caves, the aristocracy, odd things in the sky, they're all at once everything, and yet they are nothing. They're just a melange of tantalising pools in which to swim and languish in search for an answer. Yet Lunan's book is full not only of his own opinion, but extracts of other publications, conversations that she's had with other people, and quotes from yet more. So it's not my job, nor at all is it within my grasp, if I'm honest, to give you a definite answer on what Lunan's conclusion really is. The book is an utter work of...
There is no conclusion. If there was a conclusion about what was up with the Green Children of Woolpit, we wouldn't be talking about it right now, because that's not how we do Hive Sci. That's not how we do Cryptic Corner. You know, we want to dive into the mystery.
Genius. It's mad genius, in fact. And this might actually be a commentary on my level of intelligence, but here goes. I didn't get it. My curiosity was massively intrigued by this notion of the children being transported from another Earth-like planet, which was derived largely from listening to Lunan talk. But then in his book, there is this specific paragraph that states, "But it is important to shed the idea that the children might have been alien," which somebody persists in adding to my Wikipedia page. But then in the section of the book titled The Final Conjecture, he lays out a clear timeline of first contact with some beings, beginning in BC 10,500, leading to the arrival of the Green Children as the result of some sort of error involving unexpected interactions.
See, my thoughts is that this has just had fairy lore attached onto it, right? Living in the underground where fairies live. That's in the UK. That was the generally accepted idea, was that the fairy kingdom was underground. There were, there's lots of cairns and portals and doorways into the fairy world all over the UK, especially in Wales. But something like that in Essex isn't that far removed, at least as far as folklore is concerned. And then just attaching a whole lot of other characteristics onto the story as it goes on, you end up playing the game of telephone
between matter transmitters and magnetic fields, and rounds it off with this. I can scarcely believe what I'm looking at. Mass abductions by extraterrestrials for experimental purposes, with the knowledge, connivance, and even support of some of the authorities of the day, the X-Files in the 12th century. I find the case fascinating, frustrating, amazing, and baffling. I urge you to read the book, hard as it is to get through. Buy it on Kindle, it's a couple of quid. I urge you to seek out the other videos on this and the literature on this. If Lunan really has managed to trace the records of this green girl as being a real married person in adulthood, and if that girl was indeed from some other world, then this is utterly mind-blowing. Find out what you can,
for real,
and come back to this video and comment on it and let me know. Hit the like button, please. Hit the thumbs up button in the corner there. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and share this video with your friends and all that good YouTube stuff. Bye for now.
All right, so that was the Green Children of Woolpit, as presented by Eerie Vault, Strange Encounters UK. And I'm going to subscribe because there's more stories here that may be of interest to us. They have stuff we've covered before, like the Sandown Clown and the Gnomes of Woollerton. We've covered those. Did you all, if you haven't seen those videos, yeah, the Sandown Clown was one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite UK cryptids of all time. It's right up there behind Geoff the Talking Mongoose, or Jeff the Talking Mongoose. Yeah. But what do you think? I mean, Hive, let's kick the ball into your corner. What do you think the story behind these Green Children of Woolpit was? What do you think caused them to have this skin coloration? Where do you think they came from? What folklore do you think is derived from that? Tell us in the comments down below. Anxious to hear your input. But please remember to be kind, and take care, and we will see you next time. Live from the Hive audience. Don't go anywhere, because this is just the first segment. Do not leave. Do not leave, because we got the precious jewels coming up next. You don't want to miss out on that. It's been on my back burner for a minute, and I'm finally put something together to try to knock this one out of the park. So we'll see what happens. I will be... Geoff the Talking Mongoose was a great one. Yes, Geoff the Talking Mongoose was awesome. Sandown Clown is a weirdo. You're not wrong. These are Shrek's bastard children. You think so, AR? The kids had some allergy to something. That's a theory, John. Their parents might have run a beautiful con job. That's a possibility. All clowns are. Yeah. Jaundice, you think? I was born with jaundice, so I was a yellow baby when I was born. Not green, but yellow. The water made them green. Oh. Captive Desk is swatting Bugbot away from Stingin. Ah. All right. I will be back with you, and we'll get really weird with it here in a little bit. But, yeah, please. I got to fix this ad real quick, and then I'm going to run the t-shirt ad again. But y'all can see what the designs look like and get kind of a close-up of the patterns and stuff. As Dave said, the insignia on the front of it is actually really soft. It's not that thick. How you got to get the thick sticker, iron-on stickers that make you sweaty underneath, that make your skin sweaty underneath where it's at. It's not like that. It's a nice soft feeling. All right, but I'm going to run that ad, and then we'll run intermission. Yeah, I'll be back with you shortly.
Did the evolutionists just kill a pterodactyl?
The t-shirt ad again, but y'all can see what the designs look like and get kind of a close-up of the patterns and stuff. As Dave said, the insignia on the front of it is actually really soft. It's not that thick. How you got to get the thick sticker, iron-on stickers that make you sweaty underneath, that make your skin sweaty underneath where it's at. It's not like that. It's a nice soft feeling. All right, but I'm going to run that ad, and then we'll run intermission. Yeah, I'll be back with you shortly.
Did the evolutionists just kill a pterodactyl?
The t-shirt ad again, but y'all can see what the designs look like and get kind of a close. Hello, my beauties and bees. It is time for our week in weirdness, where we look at some of the stranger conspiracy theories and the kind of out there folklore being spread around the internet. And today is kind of a special one because some people know this and some people don't, but and it just may be relevant, it may be irrelevant, you may not even care, but my favoriteest book ever is The Silmarillion. Now, the thing about The Silmarillion is the title of it is actually made just a portion of what's actually in the book. There's other narratives too, but The Silmarillion, because it's such an important aspect of the folklore of Middle Earth and J.R. Tolkien's world, takes the main title. So what is a Silmarillion? The Silmarillion means basically the story of the Silmarils. And what are the Silmarils? Well, they are 3 jewels, right? And I'm going to try to run through this folklore really quick for you, because I'm not going to spend too much time on the Tolkien verse, since, not everybody's a Tolkien fan like I am. But there in the beginning of Middle Earth, there were the gods, the Valar, and they created the world. Basically, they all have elemental powers and created the world of Middle Earth. And then one of the gods goddess, Yavanna was the goddess of nature and trees and stuff, and she created these magical trees in the Western land that gave the world light. Right, this is before the sun and the moon, and when the elves came and stayed in Valinor in the West, they became enamored of the trees. They were in love with the light of the trees, and one of them was a blacksmith named, a jewelsmith named Feanor. Now, Feanor was he was a kind of an asshole of a character. He's a very libertarian character, right? And so he created these jewels that captured the light of both trees within them, and there's 3 of them. And then the Dark Lord Morgoth was jealous of these jewels and wanted them for his own. And so what he did was he got this giant spider from the south named Ungoliant, depending on how you want to pronounce it, Ungoliant or Ungoliant. But she had like shadow powers. She was Shelob's mom, the big spider from Lord of the Rings. That was her mom. But she helped him sneak into Valinor using her shadowy webs, and she killed the trees. She drank all the light out of them, because that's what she does. She drinks light and belches forth darkness. So she killed both of these trees. So now the only place where the light from the trees that was left was in these 3 jewels, right? So the god said, before it's too late, we can actually restore the trees if you let us break open those jewels and put the light from those jewels back into the trees. And Feanor, being a staunch libertarian, was said, no, I made these jewels with my own hands, and you cannot have them. And they were kind of aghast because, he made the jewels with his own hands with knowledge he learned from Aeol, the god of the earth, and using the light from Elbereth, the goddess of light, and from the trees of Yavanna. So he used the knowledge of the Valar to create, and the knowledge and the resources of the Valar to create these jewels. But now he refuses to save the world from darkness with them, and being the only one who can. But it didn't matter anyway whether he said yes or no, because Morgoth, the Lord of Darkness, while everybody was confused in the shadows, broke into Feanor's vaults in Fornost, killed his dad, Finwë, one of the elder elves, one of the 3 leaders of the elder leaders of the elves, and he took the jewels and fled back to Middle Earth, left Valinor behind. And Ungoliant came with him, and she wanted those jewels for herself. She wanted to eat, and he would not give them to her. So they fought. The Balrogs came and drove her off, and she ran away south and disappeared from the folklore, right? But Feanor, back in Middle Earth, had him and his son swear an oath that they would bring back the Silmarils, retrieve the Silmarils, and return them to the house of Finwë, the Noldor, and anybody who's tried to stop them was an enemy. So this basically put a curse on the gems. And then from there on forward, up until the story of the Lord of the Rings is still a continuation of that folklore. But anyway, what does all this have to do with getting weird with it? Well, cursed gems have always been a fascination of mine, and they've always been a fascination of just human society in general, because for some reason we think precious minerals can hold supernatural powers. And this plays very well into our pattern-seeking monkey brains, right? I put together a playlist about some of the some of the jewels that have impacted our timeline with their alleged curses. So I'm going to share that with you guys, and we're going to kind of muddle our way through them. Let's see. Not that. Hold on. Where is you? There we go. All right. There we go. My stuff's all out of order for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on with it. Anyway, let's go. All right. We're going to start with the Black Princess Ruby.
Will this cursed gem bring destruction to the British royal family?
Loud.
Or is the history of this priceless stone just a little spooky? Even if you're familiar with the history of England's crown jewels, you might be surprised to hear that a few of them are rumored to be cursed. For instance, the Black Princess Ruby, which the Royal Collection Trust states
I mean, the royal family is cursed. So, yeah.
is the large, irregular red stone mounted on the front cross of Britain's imperial state crown, is known to have a particularly grim history. It is believed that following 1367's Battle of Najera, the ruby made it.
I sort of consider myself a atheo-pagan in a way. Not a Christian witch, but like an, yeah. Like, I believe that, you know, that we can control our own pathway through proper thought direction. But I digress. I'm definitely an atheist, but my spirit stone comes from Jesus Earth. What? Pattern-seeking monkey brains. I love that. Yes, pattern-seeking monkey brains. That's what we are. Ember. That's what I'm. What did Ember say that she was picturing? I missed it. Infinity stones. Okay, yeah.
its way into the hands of Edward, Prince of Wales, aka the Black Prince. It was allegedly a gift from Don Pedro, King of Castile. There's plenty of misinformation about this particular royal treasure. For starters, the Black Prince's ruby is not, in fact, a ruby. The stone is a 170-carat cabochon red spinel that measures nearly 2 inches long. There is a smaller true ruby, however, mounted in gold, plugging a small hole near the top of the stone, a permanent reminder of its time-worn.
Good morning, John Fabiano. Don't steal gems and you won't get cursed. Yeah, that's kind of a good direction to go. Or the stones from the Zelda game, or the Chaos Emeralds from Sonic the Hedgehog, right? All these fictional worlds have magic jewels in them that will give you power. Heck, in the DC universe, the only way to destroy or to defeat a Kryptonian is with kryptonite, which is a jewel. So you got like kryptonite gauntlets, like Batman did. Yeah, the Infinity Stones from Marvel. What else? Drop more magic stones. I'm sure I know that there's that there's magic stones in Discworld. I just can't think of what they are. And then I know there's magic stones in Song of Fire and Ice in that world as well.
As a pendant. The Black Prince's ruby is thought to have been mined in what is now Tajikistan, and it sits above another famous gem, the Cullinan II diamond, called the Second Star of Africa. While the Black Prince's ruby is now a hallmark of the British crown.
Wait a second, is that the pearl that the peregrine pearl up there? It looks like it, but we'll get to that one later on. Trust me.
It has a storied history that begins in India. It was
My Unfinished Tale. Thank you so much. Appreciate your $2 donation. Please don't seek patterns. Like and share the stream instead. Absolutely.
Recorded in the 14th century as a gem that once belonged to Abu Sa'id, the last Sultan of Granada, who lost the stone along with his life. The gemstone was stripped from Abu Sa'id by Don Pedro the Cruel.
Well, they stole some of them from India. They stole some of them from Africa too. Tsunami says, my mom brought me to see the crown jewels once, and I don't think she realized that England stole them from India and why it was weird to bring me there. Yeah, some of them are from India, some of them are from Africa, but yeah, the European colonial powers just stripped all the wealth out of these countries, and then people look at them nowadays and be like, look at how poor these countries are. Yeah, because you stole all their resources, all their precious minerals, and all their resources that would have made it possible for them to prosper, and you prospered off of it. And now you're going to disparage them. Intent is everything. I agree, Sandy. I was just talking about you at work the other day, Sandy. I'll message you and tell you more about it, but.
The ruler of Seville, Spain in 1366. The story goes that after a series of battles, Abu Sa'id arranged to surrender to Don Pedro in Castile. After being welcomed as guests, however, the Sultan and all of his companions were murdered, and Don Pedro claimed for himself the large red stone he found on Abu Sa'id. It's commonly thought that Don Pedro's confiscation of the blood red stone is what kick-started the gem's curse, bringing bad luck and untimely death to its owners. In fact, Don Pedro soon found himself at war with his brothers before going bankrupt and dying, though he didn't die with the black...
You mean aristocrats who are willing to steal from nations on the other side of the globe might also be willing to steal and murder their own kinsmen for power and wealth? You don't say.
Prince's ruby in his possession. It was Edward of Woodstock, the Black Prince of England, who helped Don Pedro defeat a brother in a contest to rule
Edward of Woodstock better play a hell of a guitar solo with a name like that. Yeah.
Castile. After their victory in 1367, Edward was rewarded by Don Pedro with the same ruby red stone taken from Abu Sa'id. Unfortunately, Don Pedro died just 3 years later, and Edward died before inheriting the English throne. So, the gem passed to Edward's son, King Richard II, who was murdered when he was just 21 years old. At that point, the Black Prince's ruby passed through the hands of several English rulers, who died under tragic circumstances, before being inherited by the Tudors, then the Stuarts. Several rulers may or may not have experienced the curse, including Queen Mary of Scotland.
Sumami's hustling out there. God, I love you, babe. Keep the hustle. Keep the hustle. These are my birthstones, by the way. Ruby, these are actual rubies. I have real rubies, not fake rubies like what are in the crown.
Scotland and Charles I, who were put to death, and James II, who lost the throne and was exiled. Such bad luck has only added to the belief that the Black Prince's ruby might be cursed. Nevertheless, it now enjoys a place of prominence on the British Imperial State Crown and is one of the most recognizable jewels in the entire royal collection. Indeed, in 1919's The Crown Jewels of England, Cyril Davenport and George Younghusband wrote, "The question is often asked, what is the value of this stone? And the answer may safely be given that it is priceless, for no amount of money can buy it."
This should be in a museum!
England's Historic Royal Palace's website tells us that the thought-to-be cursed Black Prince's ruby can be seen as part of the Crown Jewels display in the Tower of London.
All right. Well, I'm just going to auto-play to the next one.
From the appearance of unexpected A-list guests to...
What?
Will this cursed gem bring...
From the appearance of unexpected...
Why are you doing this to me?
Cursed gem bring...
Much less known than the famous Kohinoor or Cullinan diamond. Nonetheless, it is one of the most special, majestic and famous diamonds in the world. It finds its origin in...
This is the Regent diamond, which has a sort of similar colonial origin. India. You're going to notice a trend, though. India, Africa, India, Africa. Where do diamonds come from?
But one confirmed story about the diamond is it was acquired by the then East India Company's governor of Madras, Thomas Pitt. He is said to have deceitfully smuggled the diamond outside India by hiding it in the shoes of his son, Robert Pitt. It is worth mentioning that Thomas Pitt was a very respected and prestigious person, and his grandson and great-grandson both had been prime ministers of Britain. This diamond found by Pitt made him famous, or rather infamous, not just in his own times, but in all the times to come. And
yes, this is an AI voice. It's the best video I could find that wasn't 20 minutes long on this topic, though, because we got a lot to get through.
Earned him the epithet Thomas Diamond Pitt. The sale of this diamond amassed him enough money to make him one of the richest men in Europe and lay and secure the fortunes of his future generations. Upon reaching Europe, Pitt got this diamond cut and polished by the jeweler Harris, who is said to have taken around 2 years to cut this diamond into its present cushion shape. The diamond was reduced to a size of 140.64 carat, which is 28.128 grams. The cutting cost him £25,000, but he made way more than that by selling the secondary diamonds and dust that came out of it. After all, it was a whopping 426 carat diamond originally, and no wonder that many small diamonds would have come out of it, even after keeping a big piece of 140.64 carat. It is said to be first bought by Philip II, Duke of Orleans, the then regent of France, for about $650,000. On his name only, the Pitt diamond's name was changed to Regent Diamond. This diamond happened to be so big and important that it continued to be part of crowns and ornaments of many kings and queens. Its famous wearers included none other than Napoleon Bonaparte himself, who got it embedded in his sword, and it was part of Louis XV, Louis XVI, and King Charles X coronation crown, Queen Marie Antoinette's black velvet hat, and Queen Marie Leczinska's hat, along with other precious jewels and diamonds, like Sancy Diamond and Hortensia Diamond, both of whom also happened to come from India. Regent Diamond was also stolen during the French Revolution and was found after a long period of about 15 months. After the Regent Diamond was found and recovered, it was loaned out to the Berlin businessman Sigmund Otto Joseph von Triscow and to a Dutch banker in Amsterdam because
I like how, like, just give it back to the people who had it. This was part of the wealth of the, well, and I'm not trying to stand for the Mughal Empire or anything, but this was part of the wealth of the Mughal Empire. That's why the Mughal Empire fell, because the East India Trading Company stripped them of their wealth, like piece by piece, bit by bit, slowly over centuries until they collapsed.
French economic condition was very bad, and major reason for the historic French Revolution. The money acquired from mortgaging the Pitt's diamond helped bankrupt France to keep its 14 French armies in the field. French armies had...
That's the curse of a diamond right there. You can use to fund wars. Come on now.
Many victories after this. Napoleon Bonaparte, after these victories, considered the diamond a good luck charm and decided to wear it in the hilt of his sword. So is the diamond cursed, or it is lucky? It could be considered cursed because Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette were decapitated, Louis XVIII was exiled twice and ultimately died childless, Charles X was forced to abdicate the throne and died a horrible death of cholera, and Napoleon died in exile, filled with regret and haunted by a host of painful memories. So, is the Regent Diamond cursed? Side.
It more seems like the aristocracy is cursed. Like all of these jewels just seem like the aristocracy and the oligarchy is cursed, which I'm cool with. Curse the oligarchs. That's a way of life for me.
Or it could be considered lucky because it definitely brought immense fortune for Thomas Pitt and for many of his future generations. Napoleon Bonaparte attributed many of the French army victories to this diamond and therefore got it embedded in the hilt of his sword, though it is said that he died terribly. But there is one thing mention worthy, which is, when he was in exile in Elba, his wife carried the diamond to Austria where she took refuge with her son. So, is it possible that he lost finally because the diamond had gone away from him, though the Austrian king had returned the diamond to French treasury, but...
True story, John Hudson says. He died childless because he was so inbred that he was unable to conceive a child. Exactly. That doesn't mean it was cursed. That means a lot of people were willing to die for it, says Rainbow Wrath. Exactly. Evil bastages. FAFO. Yeah, they sure did. This subject is not in my wheelhouse, says John Fabiano. Yes, it's not. There's not a lot of. We can't have everything in our wheelhouse. But yeah, this is basically an ode to colonialism and people thinking, oh, if bad things happen to colonizers, it must be a curse.
The lucky charm was away from Napoleon. Could this have possibly led to his eventual downfall? There could be history associated with this diamond, which we don't know and would never know, but we know one thing for sure. And it's the fact that as colonization begun,
Wait a s-
diamonds
whoa, 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 whoa.
exchanged places, and it's the fact.
What's going on here? That looks hot. Are they all waiting in line to... I'm assuming they're kissing his ring, but it really does look like he's going down on him.
That as colonization begun, diamonds exchanged places, and so does the prosperity and powers. It's impossible to determine the exact value of Regent Diamond. However, according to experts, in 1791, its appraised value was 480,000 British pounds, which is equivalent to 61,420,000 British pounds in 2021. In US dollars, this is equivalent to 76,337,075.40, and in Indian rupees,
That's an expensive rock, I'm not gonna lie.
will amount to 6,265,872,611.47. Isn't it surprising that so less is known about such special diamond, which has been associated with the rise and fall of empires, and even with an emperor like Napoleon Bonaparte? A diamond so huge and pricey, which
There are so many things that could have cursed Napoleon. Are we forgetting that this guy conquered so many countries and oppressed the natives, the native population? Egypt, Prussia, everywhere, like all across Europe, right? The Napoleonic Empire was probably cursed by every little faction of witches from North Africa to East Asia.
could fetch money for a country like France to keep going. Do these gems and diamonds really have powers and luck associated with them, as the rich countries like India and South Africa started to come under colonial rule, and European countries would expand their rule and got rich and powerful at the same time? Was it the power of these diamonds that traded place? What is your opinion on this?
Yes, it was stripping the wealth from one continent and redistributing it to another. Yeah, that's true.
Diamonds and other precious stones really hold powers and bring good luck or curses powerful enough to wield significant effect. What are your thoughts on this, and is there anything else about this diamond that you know? Let us know in the comment box. If you like the video, do share with your friends, and it would be great if you like and subscribe to this channel.
All right.
Humble thanks for watching.
What do we got now?
Welcome to Bellneck Curiosity. The Delhi's Purple Sapphire, also known as Cursed Gemstone, is currently kept in National History Museum, London.
Of course it is, because all the wealth of India has to be kept in London. It's the only place where it's safe from the godless heathens of India. Right? Just give it back. Give them back their stuff. Maybe the curse will go away.
Why and how this beautiful purple sapphire became cursed? Let's get straight to the video. Origin of the curse. The history of the Delhi's purple sapphire traces back to the 19th century. In 1857, India was in complete destruction under British rule. Also known as Indian Mutiny or First War of Independence, was a
It's not a mutiny if it's your own country. It's an uprising, a revolution. But it's not a mutiny. It's a rebellion against oppressors.
widespread rebellion against the British East India Company. During this, India was in complete chaos and Britishers looted many ancient Indian temples. Among them, one of the temple was an ancient temple in Kanpur district dedicated to god of war and thunderstorms.
You're not wrong, Sue. Giving it back to the people instead of giving it back to the Indian government, but that's not actually something we can do. That it can be done, but it doesn't belong in London.
God Indra. The temple had many gold and precious items. One of them was the purple sapphire. The purple sapphire was very precious and beautiful. It was attached to the crown of God Indra. In 1855, a Bengal cavalryman, Colonel W. Ferris, took the purple sapphire from the temple and returned home to his family. Now the curse begins. As soon as he returned home to his family, Ferris began to suffer a series of losses of financial misfortunes which brought the family to the brink of collapse. At first,
Do you think that was maybe because he was a shady person and had shady practices? Him stealing a giant sapphire kind of points to him having shady practices, which generally leads to bankruptcy and loss of funding. But eventually it leads to, from what I understand, it leads to a presidential nomination and a fascist takeover. So yeah.
Ferris blamed his own poor judgment, but when every member of the family also suffered a series of unexplained illness, his thoughts turned to the gem. His fears were confirmed when he lent the stone to a friend of his family and he mysteriously committed suicide. So the gem became very popular after this. An unlikely victim, Edward Heron Allen. In 1890, the gem had come into possession of Edward Heron Allen. Edward was one of the most respected scholars of his time. He was a writer and a scientist. He agreed to accept the gem from Ferris' son to prove that there was nothing special about the gem. Soon after taking the gem, he began to experience a series of unfortunate events. So, to neutralize the curse of the gem, he attached a diamond to the ring, which had double silver-headed snake. He changed the whole look of the purple sapphire with some astrological signs. But after this, the situation only got
So he defaced it because he thought it was cursed. So he thought he'd deface it in order to stop the curse.
Condition of Edward was becoming worse. He started having daily nightmares where he saw someone with long hair, red eyes and ash on the body. Edward said he looked like an angry Aghori Sadhu who used to sit at the corner of his house staring at him the whole night. Sometimes he saw Aghori Sadhu digging something in the ground as if
homies having hypnopompic states is what that sounds like to me. Hypnopompic states is like where you dream while you're awake, and it causes you to see things. Like people have like abduction experiences by aliens, for example, are dealing with hypnopompic state.
He's searching for something. All these experiences have written by Edward himself in his last letter, which is still kept at the museum. The curse awakens. So after the unnatural experiences, in frustration, Edward threw the gem into Regent's Canal. He thought that he got rid of the curse. But some months later, the ring was recovered during cleaning of the canal. It was then taken to a local jeweler. The jeweler
Imagine being the lucky motherfucker who fished that out of the water, though.
immediately recognized the gem as he was the one who mounted the gem on the ring for Edward. So he returned the ring back to Edward. After this failure to get rid of the gem, he again given the gem.
I would not have let the jeweler give it back to Edward. Edward threw it away. Finders, keepers. But yeah, I mean, this is the way to. I guess that's a way to avoid the curse, though, is to give it away to somebody. He just let the jeweler. Like, could you imagine bringing something to an appraiser, and they're like, "Hey, wait a minute. I know the guy who owns this. I'm going to return it back to him." No, you can't have it back. When you're the one that found it, obviously Edward threw it away.
To one of his friends who was a professional singer. But after that, his friend lost his voice in an accident. Fearing that the gem would influence his newborn daughter, Edward packed the gem into 7 boxes filled with good luck charm. He then deposited it in the safe of his bank with instructions for it not to be opened until after his death. The final chapter. In 1944, Edward Heron Allen died. Despite insisting that the box containing the Delhi's purple sapphire should not be opened for 33 years after his death, Edward's daughter sent the box to the National History Museum. There it stayed until 1972, until a caretaker of the museum uncovered the sapphire and the strange letter enclosed, in which he wrote all his experiences and strongly recommended to throw the gem into the sea. The complete letter,
which is actually what happens to one of the Silmarils at the end of the Silmarillion So, yeah, maybe that's where Tolkien got his inspiration at. No, because this would have been in the 70s. He wrote the Silmarillion way before that. Was it Maglor through the Silmarillion to the sea? But this one won't
Edward
get.
Heron Allen is still kept at the museum. Today, this gem is popularly known as Delhi's Purple Sapphire and is kept safely in the National History Museum for public view. Nobody is the official owner of the gem, and it is believed that the curse will end only when it is returned to the temple from where it was looted. I know there was no scientific explanation in this video like most of my other videos, but some elements are beyond science with no explanation.
I mean, I'm all for saying, hey, it's cursed, return it to the temple just to get it back in the temple where they stole it from. A real purple sapphire might convince me to let go of the idea of happily being single until my death. The bigots are stupid. Massive diversity is so much more fun. They must hate fun too. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Explanations. That's all in this video, but more interesting videos are coming up. So if you like this video, give a thumbs up and subscribe the channel. Don't forget to click on the bell icon for regular updates.
Okay. Next, the Blue Diamond
August
Affair.
1989. The air hung heavy and hot over Bangkok, Thailand. Inside a palace vault, a thief moved silently. He was after a king's ransom in diamonds and jewels. This was no ordinary robbery. The victim was Prince Faisal, a Saudi Arabian royal. The stolen gems were worth millions.
And this is in the 90s, so this is a more recent one of these events.
Among them was a prize beyond value, a rare blue diamond. The theft made headlines around the world. It wasn't just the value of the loot. This was about power, prestige, and international intrigue. The House of Saud, rulers of Saudi Arabia, were directly involved. The stakes were...
Saudi princes own a lot of these jewels now too. I'm sure that they would buy the entire London Museum if they had the option to. And maybe Modi would sell the Delhi blue sapphire. It's not a sapphire to a Saudi prince. That sounds like something he would do, just pocket the funding from it. But
were incredibly high. Enter Kriangkrai Tekamung, a Thai worker. He was a janitor at the palace where the jewels were kept. Police quickly suspected him. Tekamung had access to the vault. He was arrested trying to escape the country. Under questioning, Tekamung confessed. He led police to a buried stash. There, they found a cache of jewels. But something was wrong. The recovered gems were fakes. The real treasure, including the blue diamond, was gone. Tekamung claimed he was just a pawn. He said powerful figures were behind the heist. His story was hard to believe, but the missing jewels told their own tale. The theft created a diplomatic firestorm. Saudi Arabia was furious. They accused Thai police of incompetence, even complicity. Relations between the two countries plummeted. Saudi Arabia sent their own investigators to Thailand. But their presence only made things worse. The Saudi investigators were...
You don't say. You come into another sovereign nation and step onto their criminal investigations, and you're going to cause problems. Not just... That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Heavy-handed. They bullied witnesses and bribed officials. The Thai government was outraged. The investigation stalled, mired in suspicion and mistrust. The stolen jewels and the truth seemed lost forever. The story took a sinister turn in 1990.
It didn't already take a sinister turn? I mean, come on. So far, things are pretty sinister. You have Saudi investigators overstepping their jurisdiction into another country's criminal investigations. Yeah, it's already shit the bed.
3 Saudi diplomats were gunned down in Bangkok. The killings were professional, cold-blooded. Were they connected to the missing jewels? Many believed so. The killings spread fear and paranoia. Then a prominent Saudi businessman disappeared. He was rumored to be involved in the jewelry trade. Had he tried to fence the stolen gems? His fate remains unknown. The murders and disappearance remain unsolved. They cast a long shadow over the case. The Blue Diamond affair was more dangerous than anyone imagined.
The missing
Section
blue
5.
diamond.
The missing blue diamond. At the heart of the affair lies the blue diamond. Its exact value is unknown, but it is priceless.
Its exact value is unknown, but it's priceless are incongruent claims. They can't both be true.
Some believe it is cursed, stained by the violence.
I mean, I guess technically you could say, if you say it's priceless, you don't have to say its true value is unknown. Is more what I'm trying to say. But I digress.
Is caused. The diamond's whereabouts are a mystery. Was it smuggled out of Thailand? Is it hidden away in a private collection? Rumors and theories abound. Some say it resurfaced briefly in the Middle East. Others claim it is hidden in plain sight, recut and disguised.
Exactly, AR. Stealing a gem is dumb. You can't sell it to anyone or wear it. Everyone is going to recognize it, and everybody's going to say, I don't want to buy that hot jewel you got on your neck, right? They're going to say, I don't want to buy that. There's Interpol's looking for it or whatever, you know?
The truth, like the diamond itself, remains elusive. Section 6. Whispers of Conspiracy. The Blue Diamond Affair is fertile ground for conspiracy theories. Some whisper that the Thai police were in on the heist from the start. Others point fingers at powerful figures within the Saudi government. Did someone inside the Saudi royal family orchestrate the theft? Was it an inside job gone wrong? The rumors swirl, fueled by the lack of answers. The truth, hidden beneath layers of intrigue, may never be known.
Oh, the House of Saud.
Section
Here we
7,
go.
the House of Saud. To understand the affair, one must understand the House of Saud. They are the royal family of Saudi Arabia, rulers of a kingdom built on oil wealth. The House of Saud is vast and powerful. Its members hold immense influence. The theft of Prince Faisal's jewels was a blow to their prestige. It exposed cracks in their carefully crafted image. The House of Saud is in...
Well, if they're really worried about people stealing their jewels, maybe keep them in Saudi Arabia instead of sending them to Thailand. Just a thought.
Intensely private. Their secrets are closely guarded. This secrecy only deepens the mystery of the Blue Diamond Affair. Section 8. Global Intrigue. The Blue Diamond Affair is a tangled web of international intrigue. It involves royal families, diplomats, and criminals. It stretches from the palaces of Riyadh to the back alleys of Bangkok. The case has strained diplomatic relations and sparked violence. It raises questions about corruption, power, and the price of greed. The global reach of the affair is a testament to the allure and danger of such a valuable prize.
The enduring enigma.
Section 9. An enduring enigma. The Blue Diamond Affair remains an unsolved mystery. The stolen jewels have never been recovered. The murders remain unsolved. The case continues to fascinate and frustrate. It is a reminder that some secrets are never meant to be revealed. The Blue Diamond, like a ghost, haunts the memories of those involved. It is a symbol of greed, betrayal, and the enduring power of a mystery unsolved. The case serves as a cautionary tale. It is a stark illustration of the adage, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it.
The Hall of Gems at the American Museum of Natural History in New York houses the renowned Star of India, a world-famous gemstone cherished for its remarkable features. This star sapphire captivates with its extraordinary size, pleasing blue color, and perfectly centered asterism. Weighing an impressive 563.35 carats, the Star of India holds the distinction of being the largest gem-quality blue star sapphire in existence. Estimated to be around 2 billion years old,
It's pretty, but yeah, is it magic? Yeah.
Precious gemstone is revered as one of the most notable treasures in the world. The origin of the gray-blue Star of India can be traced...
You notice how many of these things are coming from India? Just throwing that out there.
...back approximately 300 years to Sri Lanka, where it was believed to have been discovered.
Oh, it's from Sri Lanka, so... Actually, I guess this would have been India colonizing Sri Lanka and taking their wealth, but I digress.
In the late 19th century, mineralogist George Coons took on the task of curating a prestigious collection of gemstones for an exhibition at the Paris Exposition of 1900, at the behest of financier J.P. Morgan. The Star of India...
J.P. Morgan... One of our most notable oligarchs,
along with the rest of the commissioned collection, was generously donated by Morgan to the American Museum of Natural History around 1902. Regrettably, little information is available about the gemstone prior to its inclusion in this collection. The Star of India exhibits a milky gray-blue appearance due to the presence of rutile inclusions. These needle-like rutile inclusions, when aligned in...
I want rutile inclusions. How come this Star of India gets rutile inclusions and I don't? There's no good reason for me to not have them. We should share them. The rutile inclusions are for everybody. I don't know what a rutile inclusion is.
Specific directions create mesmerizing stars with 4, 6, or 12 rays. While the most common star sapphires and star rubies have 6 rays, the Star of India stands out with its 6-rayed asterism. This unique star effect can be observed from both the top and bottom surfaces of the gemstone. In October 1964, the Star of India was stolen from the museum, along with over 20 other precious gemstones.
Wasn't me. I wasn't even born yet, so don't even point your finger at me. I had nothing to do with this.
Theft involved the perpetrators entering the museum during the day, opening a toilet window, and later accessing the building through that same window at night. Although the Star of India had its own alarm system, it was either malfunctioning or deactivated during the robbery. The thieves managed to gather 22 stones before escaping through the window. The thieves responsible for the theft were caught just 2 days later. One of them...
Let's keep this clear that these are thieves stealing from thieves, right? Thieves stealing from thieves.
Eventually led the police to a bus locker in Miami, where they had hidden the Star of India and some of the other stolen gemstones.
Thank you for watching, and please remember, when you are in doubt, get a lab report.
I'm not sure what that means. Let's go on.
Greetings everyone, and thank you for tuning in to this new video. Today we'll explore the captivating myths and legends surrounding the Modi diamond, the Santi. Known as a true emblem of luxury, diamonds are often regarded as the pinnacle of precious stones.
Another cursed diamond.
Among the world's most opulent diamonds, the Santi stands out. A rare 55-carat gem originating from India, which is believed
from India again. Who would have thought?
To have made its way to Europe around the 15th century. It is in 1476 that
right-handed Jedi, right-handed Sith, how do you know about my TARDIS?
This diamond will go down in history when Charles the Bold will buy it from a Flemish broker called Louis the Bergamo. Since then, this magnificent diamond would also carry...
That's the second time we've had Flemish come up too. This is the Flemish episode of the show.
A curse, and this curse would take all its owners with it, starting with Charles the Bold. He was killed on a battlefield in 1477, and his body was not found for several days. He was torn apart by animals before his body was found. And no one knew where the diamond had gone, whether it had been stolen or just disappeared. No one really knows what happened to the diamond for many, many years. However, we find its trace in 1570, when King Henry III was stabbed. It will be discovered that he wore the famous cursed diamond around his neck. Henry IV was assassinated.
Oh, and I mentioned this in the Roanoke video that we just did. I hate these collars so much. Like they ruin the whole aesthetic. Yeah, no, Henry, no, bad.
A few years later, but the curse doesn't stop there. Back in France, Louis XVI wore it on his feast day, while Marie Antoinette wore it during numerous celebrations at Versailles. What is known...
It's funny because Marie Antoinette's owned a couple of these cursed jewels so far. Yeah, she really ate the cake on this one.
Known is that the royal couple was guillotined, and the king's sister was also guillotined. King Louis XVI disappeared under mysterious circumstances. To finish him, Diamant will be worn by the Duke of Berry did not believe in the same fight, but he ended up having his throat slit a few years later. And let's not forget the famous Maharaja. He fell into madness after acquiring the diamond. Then his whole family will end up committing suicide one after the other as well. Since the beginning,
that's a cultural thing though, right? Like like they were dishonored, so they committed suicide. Not like a... I mean, maybe I'm wrong if somebody knows better than me, but like and it also sounds like there's been a history of family mental illness. Maybe. I want to put one of my fat cats and call her. I want to put one on my fat cat and call her the queen. Yes.
There are about 20 deaths related to this evil diamond. He would not have spared any of his most famous owners, so we decided to bring him back to Le Loop in 1976. He is set to join the Royal Crown Jewels to put an end to this grim curse. Yet, has the Santi's curse truly been lifted, or is it just a matter of time before...
Hold on. Yeah. Sith or Jedi? This one's actually mine. This one's Ben. I just haven't given it to him yet. I'm a Sith. I'm the queen of the Siths. I'm actually one of those witches. What are the witches of... are they still canon after Disney? The Force-sensitive witches? I can't remember what the planet they're from is called, but...
This magnificent display ceases to guard us against its unfortunate destiny. Only time will reveal the answer. This brings us to the conclusion of the video. I hope you found it enjoyable. Please share any myths or figures you'd like me to cover in the comments section. Additionally, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Until we meet
like,
again
share,
in
and
the next
subscribe
video,
my video,
let's keep on fire.
where I look at all these different people
Do you
making
believe
claims.
in curses? Some people might say that cursed jewelry is nothing more than a superstition. But there are plenty of stories out there to suggest that cursed jewelry exists and that it brings very...
Yeah, correlation does not equal causation. That rich, conniving people tend to meet ill fates is not a surprise to me.
very bad luck to those who own those pieces. Can a pearl destroy marriage after marriage of its owners? La Peregrina, also known as the Wanderer or the Pilgrim, is the most famous pearl in the world, measuring in at more than 55 carats. It's an exquisite pear-shaped pearl that's renowned for its perfect symmetry. Hi.
It is beautiful.
Guys, welcome to my channel. It's me, your host, Dr. Sene, and I did some research and reading about the La Peregrina pearl, and I'd like to share with you some of the things I found out. There's a belief in the world that this pearl is cursed. The pearl has a history of 500 years and is notorious for being cursed. Owners of the pearl have suffered through sad lives, bad marriages, and tempestuous times in history. Guys, I thought of summarizing what I read
Thank you, Dee. I've been working on my butt.
about the dark history of La Peregrina. La Peregrina was originally found off the coast of Panama in the mid-16th century. The popular story claims that an African slave in the Spanish colony of Panama discovered it in 1513. And it was
Like blood diamond style, right? Like cracking, you get them cracking open clams for pearls, and they don't get to keep the labor of their work. This exploitation of the labor, which we still do to this very day.
so impressive and beautiful that the slave was freed as a reward. There is no proof to back up this story about the pearl's discovery. However, what is said is that the pearl was turned over to Don Pedro de Tamez, who was the administrator of Panama at the time. Tamez gifted the pearl to the future king, Philip II of Spain, who in turn presented it as a gift to his bride, Queen Mary I of England, in 1554. Guys, now Queen Mary was notoriously known as Bloody Mary. She was a staunch Catholic and...
Look what we have here. Another member of the British aristocracy coming into possession of a valuable jewel from a colonized country.
During her reign, more than 200 Protestants were burnt at the stake for refusing to become Catholics. The marriage between Queen Mary and Philip of Spain was very difficult and unpopular also among the public. So we probably see the curse working here. Moreover,
Or arranged marriages just suck and people just shouldn't.
the attraction between Philip and Mary was very one-sided. Mary was said to be very attracted to Philip, but Philip, who was 10 years younger, did not feel the same way. In one strange instance during the marriage, Mary experienced a phantom pregnancy. While the nation started celebrating the would be birth of Mary's baby, the reality was that there was no baby. Philip eventually left Mary. He had mistresses both in England and Spain, but Mary was loyal and continued to love Philip. Just a few years later,
We can't really know whether she loved him or whether she loved being royal. But regardless, this was a common thing back then for royalty to have fertility issues due to a history of inbreeding, which was mentioned in the side chat by whom earlier, but I can't remember who said something, but my chat's pretty smart. So so fertility issues were quite common, and it may not have been Mary that had the fertility issue. It may have been Philip that had the fertility issue. We don't know for sure.
Mary would die, and Philip would go on to marry twice. When King Philip II of Spain died, La Peregrina was paired with a famous diamond and made it into a brooch. The pearl became a part of the Spanish crown jewels. La Peregrina remained as a part of the Spanish crown jewels for 250 years. It was worn for important events by queens of Spain. Queen Margaret of Spain wore the pearl in the early 1600s for a celebration of the peace treaty between England and Spain. Guys, I read about how bad luck hit her, and she died at the age of 26 while giving birth.
Bad luck hit yet another aristocrat who is living off the backs and labor of the populace by exploiting the people, and then bad things happen to them, and I'm supposed to feel bad?
To her youngest child, Alfonso. After her time, the pearl passed on to Queen Isabel. Isabel was known for having an affair with her gentleman in waiting.
Of course, yeah, it had to be the woman's fault, Maya. What am I thinking? It couldn't have been Philip. All the royal men were just virile and fertile. It was clearly the woman's fault.
Her lover was later murdered. After the death of Queen Isabel, who had a sad life, the pearl was given to Queen Mariana. Guys, I read about...
It's so weird to say that these royalty have a sad life. Nobody living... People in living in privilege don't know what... And I'm the same way. I'm living in privilege here. I'm being able to talk to you all every Saturday morning with my 3-monitor system. And yeah, I do live in a privileged position. I don't want to say that I don't have my own privileges, but at this time with the wealth disparity of the Middle Ages, it's hard to say someone had such a sad life.
Mariana also having a very difficult life.
You think that Bloody Mary had maybe endometriosis or ovarian cyst? That's a possibility.
With 3 of her children dying and the remaining 2 children suffering from physical disorders as a result of inbreeding.
Oh my gosh, why have you both here? Maya, Ryan, I wanted to do the telepathy tapes and watch some of them with you guys on a stream coming up soon. Getting you both in the same place has been... we could do a group chat and Discord. So that's cool. Let's do that, because I really want to do that. It'll be fun.
After Queen Mariana's death in 1696, the pearl seemed to have disappeared from history until it appeared again in 1813 during the invasion of Spain by Joseph Bonaparte. Napoleon's brother, Joseph Bonaparte.
Well, I don't want to do it on Sunday. Then Saturday, we could do it on a Saturday. We could do it on a weeknight too, though. I'm fine with that. If we do it on a weeknight, Monday and Tuesday should both be all right. Yeah.
Became the King of Spain in 1808, and the La Peregrina came into his possession. He suffered defeat. When he fled from Madrid during his defeat at the Battle of Vittoria in 1813, he took the pearl with him.
Y'all want to do it on the 1st? We'll do telepathy tapes on April 1st. like a April Fool's kind of thing. You want to? Yeah, I'll message you guys.
And gave it to his nephew, Napoleon III, who was in exile in London. Napoleon III faced financial trouble, so the pearl seems to have given every one of its owners very bad luck.
Causation, correlation. What's the difference, really? They're the same, right?
Guys, due to his financial issues, Napoleon III sold the pearl to an aristocratic English family, the Duke of Abercorn. During the Duke's possession, the pearl got lost at least 2 different times, once in Windsor Castle and the second time in Buckingham Palace. La Peregrina was auctioned at Sotheby's, London in 1969. Famous Hollywood actor Richard Burton bought the pearl for $37,000 US for his wife Elizabeth Taylor as a remarkable and one-of-a-kind Valentine's gift.
Yeah, and of course we all know about Liz Taylor, right? Her multiple marriages and such, which were clearly caused by her owning an irritated sand grain from the inside of a clam. That's what caused her marriages to end. If she didn't wear that sand grain that was coated in like calcite, right, from a clam, then she would not have had bad marriages. Clearly, checks out.
Burton and Taylor adored the La Peregrina. Elizabeth Taylor has written in her memoirs that once her cherished pearl had been chewed by her puppy. She says, "I just casually opened the puppy's mouth, and inside his mouth was the most perfect pearl in the world."
So, Sumami, can't you send your crows to carry some Wi-Fi over to our Sith Lord? I mean, makes sense to me. Crows can carry Wi-Fi, right?
It was, thank God, not scratched. Her words. Elizabeth Taylor loved the pearl and wore it many times, and it's believed that the curse of the pearl even affected her own marriage with Richard Burton. Elizabeth and Richard lived a lavish and extravagant life, but they both had a drinking problem and would fight tumultuously throughout their marriage. They were given the nickname the Battling Burtons. Their fights were seen in both public and in private. There is a belief that the fights became worse and violent, and their problems rose to a height after she started wearing the La Peregrina pearl. The fights were so legendary that fans of the couple...
And yeah, we are running a 3-hour show today. So, we do have a full 40 minutes left still.
...would even pay to hear them fight. Their fighting involved TVs being broken in hotel rooms and the rooms being trashed. Elizabeth became intensely addicted to pills, while Burton resorted to uncontrolled drinking and having affairs. They were divorced in 1974, only to remarry in 1975 and divorce again less than a year later. According to numerous researchers whose views I read, the Burton's life became unbearably miserable.
A 3-hour show. Usually I run about 2.5 hours, but there's a lot to cover today.
Due to the curse the pearl had brought on them. Elizabeth Taylor treasured the pearl until her death in 2011. Later that same year, Christie's Auctions sold the pearl for more than $11,800,000 to an anonymous buyer. So guys, despite the curse of La Peregrina, it probably never ever will lose its value.
The most expensive grain of sand on earth.
Don't you think?
That's it from me tonight, guys. See you again soon. Good night.
I don't care about jewelry. Also me. I don't... I'm not dating you unless you present me with Liz Taylor level jewelry, boys. Yeah. Yeah. You gotta set your own standards, right? No one can tell you what you accept from a partner. What we got here? Ooh, the Black Orlov diamond now. Orlov. Not to be confused with Orlok, the vampire from Nosferatu.
Often mistaken to be black in color, the hypnotic deep gunmetal tones of this legendary black diamond struggle to hide the reflections of a very dark past, beginning with a theft from a Hindu idol and resulting in no less than 3
Another diamond stolen from India. Oh, what a surprise. What a surprise.
mysterious suicides. The Black Orlov diamond, also known as the Eye of Brahma diamond, weighs 67.50 carats and was once part of a much larger uncut 195-carat diamond, which can be traced back to 19th century India. Legend has it that the uncut stone originally featured as...
How many of these jewels have been stolen from India now, for anybody keeping score?
one of the eyes in a statue of Brahma, the Hindu god of creation, which stood in a shrine in the southern Indian city of Pondicherry. It is believed...
Literally stolen from a shrine? Like, half of these jewels have been stolen from shrines in India by Europeans. Right? And then we're like, oh, people will be like, oh, India's so poor and trashy of a country. Well, stop stealing all their stuff.
Believe that the diamond was stolen from the statue by a traveling monk, after which it became cursed. Whilst many are skeptical about the existence of such a curse and its beginnings are thought to be little more than folklore, the journey of the diamond from here is still an interesting one that is shrouded in mystery, drama and death. In 1932, the diamond found its way to the United...
It sounds like these people are just assholes who are getting bad things happening to them so far. Almost everybody's been a thief so far, so... I mean, maybe being a thief is what's the curse, not owning the diamond.
States, imported by a European diamond dealer named Mr. J.W. Paris, who was in search of a buyer. Little is known about J.W. Paris, but within a week of arriving in New York he had sold the diamond, and shortly thereafter, on April 7th of that same year, he made his way to the top of a Manhattan skyscraper in the heart of Fifth Avenue and jumped to his death, becoming what some say to be the first known victim of the diamond's curse. It is rumored...
Did he say anything about the diamond being the reason he committed suicide? Usually people don't commit suicide over trading rare gems. There's usually something more going on in their life.
That J.W. Paris had been suffering from extreme anxiety due to business worries, and that 2 letters were found in his possession at the time of his death. One addressed to his wife and the other to a fellow jeweler, but no details regarding the content of these were ever made public. Going back to the turn of the 20th...
Well, I mean, who are you showing us here? Because you're jumping off a skyscraper, right? So he wasn't during the powdered wig era in North America. I know that there's still certain judicial branch people in the UK who still to this day wear the powdered wigs, but people weren't wearing powdered wigs in this side of the Atlantic during the days of skyscrapers.
20th century, the diamond was in the possession of a Russian heir named Princess Nadia Orlov, the source of the Black Diamond's name, which was bestowed after a much later incident from where the legend is born. During the 1917 Russian Revolution, Princess Nadia fled Russia to the safety of Rome, Italy, as did many Russian royals at the time.
That sounds right. That sounds right, yeah. The aristocrats fleeing the revolution of the people. Yeah, good.
Later, December 2nd, 1947 to be precise, some 15 years after the tragic death of J.W. Paris, when Princess Nadia leaped to her death from a building in central Rome, in what was believed to have been a suicide. At the time of her...
But she could have been thrown, right? Nadia could have been thrown off that building. A lot of people who leap to their deaths as part of Russian revolutions are... not leaping on their own accord.
Her death, the princess was the wife of a Russian jeweler, but little more is known about the circumstances of her death. Only 1 month previous to Princess Nadia's death, another member of Russian royalty, Princess Leonila Viktorovna Beryatinsky, had leaped to her death, in what again was believed to have been a suicide. At the time of her death, Princess Leonila was married to Royal Navy officer Prince Andrei Glinstein, but no further details are available about her life at the time of her fatal jump, although it was later discovered that previous to her death she had been the owner of this now infamous precious stone, the Black Orlov diamond.
So this is like the Black Orlov diamond that's going to make everybody jump off of tall buildings? Like what? The correlation causation argument, I can keep beating on that like a dead horse, but surely you guys are picking up on it by now.
Along with the Black Orlov, a second diamond was said to have haunted the Orlov family, one which went on to be known as the White Orlov diamond. The White Orlov was a 180.60 carat white diamond, which was passed on to Catherine the Great by her secret lover, Count Grigory Grigorievich Orlov.
Speaking of folklore and legends, Catherine the Great, y'all.
At the time, Count Grigory was thought to be completely infatuated by the Grand Duchess Catherine and had given the diamond as a symbol of his devotion to her, with a desperate hope to steal her away from her husband, Emperor Peter III.
Peter III. Peter III. Peter III. Well, Peter III, please stand up. Please stand up.
The diamond had been accepted, Count Grigory plotted the assassination of Peter III, elevating Catherine to the position of Empress of Russia. She was later known for being the longest ruling female leader of the country. But things didn't end well for Count Grigory, and he was spurned by Catherine. Grigory left Russia, but struggled to deal with his unrequited love for the Russian leader, and in 1781 Count Grigory returned home, where he went insane and died in Moscow the following year.
That's weird. Can you just die from insanity? I've never heard that before.
In the 1950s, an attempt was made to finally break the curse when the diamond was recut by an Austrian jeweler, at the request of its then owner, Charles F. Wilson. The cutting itself took 2 years, but it was deemed a successful venture in terms of shedding the precious stone of its demons. The diamond...
You're right, Maya. Maya. Oh my gosh, are you clairvoyant? Diamond demon. Diamond demon.
Has since passed through the hands of several private dealers, none of whom seem to have been affected by the curse. The 67.50 carat Black Orlov currently sits in a 108 diamond brooch, suspended from a 124 diamond necklace, and has even made an appearance at the Oscars, when it was worn by actresses Felicity Huffman, star of the hit TV series and movie Desperate Housewives.
Did she die though? What happened to the Desperate Housewife? All right. I think we got one more. And it's the one that I know y'all been waiting for.
Hello and good day. Today we discuss a haunting story. Let's begin. Some say jewels are priceless, not just for their beauty, but for the tales.
Here it is.
And then there's the Hope Diamond, a dazzling blue gem steeped in mystery.
The
and
Hope
whispered
Diamond.
curses. Kings have worn it, collectors have coveted it, and misfortune seems to follow wherever it goes. What is it about this shimmering stone that has captivated and terrified people for centuries? Is it simply a marvel of nature, or is there truly a dark force embedded within its...
I know some of y'all said you've seen the Hope Diamond in person, so that's pretty cool.
glittering facets? Our journey begins in the dusty, sun-soaked mines of India in the 17th century.
That's your engagement
Hidden
ring?
deep within the earth, a magnificent blue diamond the size of a walnut and unlike anything seen before, was unearthed from the Kollur mine. Its vivid color, a deep ocean blue, immediately set it apart from any other gemstone. The diamond was sold to the French merchant and adventurer, Jean-Baptiste Tavernier. Tavernier, captivated by its mesmerizing hue, purchased the gem and made his way to the glittering court of King Louis XIV of France. There, the diamond was recut and polished into a dazzling 6-7 carat masterpiece, known as the French Blue. The king himself adored
The French Blue. The French Blue?
gem, wearing it proudly as a symbol of his wealth and power. But the Hope Diamond story was only just beginning, and so too were the whispers of a curse. The diamond's dark reputation grew over centuries. fueled by the misfortunes that seemed to befall those who possessed it.
Doom, doom, doom.
One of the earliest and most famous cases involves King Louis XVI and Queen Marie Antoinette of France.
That bitch again. This is the third piece of cursed jewelry that Marie Antoinette has owned from this list so far. Seems like she's just collecting them like Pokemon cards. Maybe maybe she collects all the cursed jewels and she puts them in her gauntlet. Then she can snap the French Revolution out of existence.
The diamond was part of the French crown jewels during their reign. But as political unrest gripped France, the royal family met a grim fate. Both Louis XVI
Don't tempt me with a good time, Ryan.
and Marie Antoinette were executed during the French Revolution. While there is no concrete evidence linking the diamond directly to their downfall, the coincidence fueled its ominous reputation. The gem disappeared during the chaos of the revolution, only to resurface decades later. It had been recut to disguise its identity and was eventually acquired by Henry Philip Hope, a wealthy British banker, lending the diamond its current name. Although the Hope family enjoyed financial prosperity for a time, they eventually faced significant financial troubles, leading some to believe the diamond had brought them ruin. In the early 20th century, the diamond made its way to the United States.
The security around the jewels is more interesting than the jewels themselves. When you at the museum, yeah, I bet it is. Yeah. Right-handed Seth. Okay, you can suck up to Maya all Sunday night. This morning you're supposed to be sucking up to me, right?
States, where it was purchased by the eccentric socialite Evelyn Walsh McLean. McLean famously dismissed the idea of a curse, even letting her dog wear the diamond on occasion. However, her life was marked by a series of personal tragedies. Her son died in a car accident, her daughter succumbed to a drug overdose, and her husband's business ventures collapsed. Ultimately,
So what if what if one of your kids is in a car accident and dies, and your husband loses their jobs, and you don't have a cursed diamond? Then what? What caused it then?
leading to his institutionalization. While these events may not have been directly connected to the
Love
diamond,
you, Maya.
they added to its ominous lore. These stories of misfortune, while compelling, often rely on a blend of fact and folklore. The Hope Diamond's association with tragedy has been exaggerated over time, but its storied past continues to captivate and intrigue. What could explain the dark cloud that seemed to hover over the Hope Diamond's owners? Some say it's all mere coincidence, a string of unfortunate events given undue significance. Others point
Right, undue significance. Yes, you hit the nail on the head for every single gem that we've looked at right now. The fact that a lot of these were gems that were owned by the same people or same groups of people is pretty telling that it's just correlation.
to the stone's origin. According to legend, the diamond was plucked from the eye of a sacred statue of the Hindu goddess
Oh, that's true. The library's not open on Sundays. Well, some libraries are.
Sita. Enraged by the theft, the priests are said to have placed a curse upon the gem, ensuring that no one who possessed it would find happiness. Skeptics dismiss such tales, attributing the diamond's reputation to folklore and sensationalist storytelling.
Right, just like the curse of King Tut or anything like that, yeah.
But even without a curse, the sheer value and notoriety of the stone have undeniably brought danger and intrigue.
I want Kegel diamonds. Everybody send me Kegel diamonds. I will buy you bags of charcoal, and you can send me Kegel diamonds.
In 1958, famed jeweler Harry Winston donated the Hope Diamond to the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. The transfer of the gem was dramatic in its simplicity. Winston shipped it via ordinary registered mail, encased in a plain brown paper package.
You're right, I have all the sexiest people in here, D. Like, my whole chat is like it's like a runway model show, right?
By the humble delivery method, the gem arrived safely at its destination, sparking excitement and curiosity among museum staff and the public. Once placed on display at the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History, the diamond quickly became one of the institution's most popular exhibits. The Hope
Is that how it looks in its display case now?
Diamond's presence at the museum marked a shift in its reputation. No longer a private possession entangled in stories of personal tragedy, it was now a public treasure, admired by millions without apparent consequence. Over the years,
Kegel diamonds? You mean kidney stones? No, you take a lump of coal, and you insert, and then you do your Kegels until you crush it into the pressure crushes it into a diamond.
The Smithsonian has reported no unusual incidents associated with the gem. Scientists have conducted studies to understand the diamond's unique color and composition, further demystifying its allure. The decision to house the diamond in a secure and public environment may have finally severed any lingering ties to its supposed curse. The Smithsonian's display of the...
Can't believe y'all don't know about Kegel diamonds. How do you think that I've made my fortune?
Hope Diamond has transformed it from a symbol of misfortune to one of wonder and education. It stands as a testament to human fascination with beauty, history, and the mysteries that gems like this carry. Today, the Hope Diamond remains one of the most famous and valuable jewels in the world. Its deep blue color and storied past continue to captivate gem enthusiasts and historians alike. Whether you believe in the curse...
You can request custom shapes, D, but no promises.
...or dismiss it as myth, one thing is undeniable. The Hope Diamond holds a unique place in history, shimmering with beauty and mystery. So, the next time...
maybe we should get rid of the Hope Diamond out of our country so that it stops being cursed, because, yeah, we've slipped into fascism.
...and you find yourself admiring a precious gemstone, remember, sometimes beauty comes with a price. And this concludes today's story. I hope that you enjoyed this cursing tale, and thank you for spending your time here with me. Let me know in the comments, and remember to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss the next unsolved mystery. Until then, stay curious, stay thoughtful, and I'll see you in the next story.
All right, so let's go back through. We've covered the Black Prince Ruby, the Regent Diamond, the Delhi Purple Sapphire, the Blue Diamond Affair, the Star of India Sapphire, the Sancy Diamond, the Peregrine Pearl, the Black Orlov Diamond, and the Hope Diamond. So lots of diamonds, and I do see that diamonds kind of top the scale on the poll here, with 57% saying diamonds are the most cursed, which I think is the right answer. But the pearl, the Peregrine Pearl, gets a special place on the list because of its association with Liz Taylor, of course, and ruining her marriages. As far as rubies and sapphires, they'd made a minor appearance. But no, actually, rubies didn't make an appearance because the one ruby we have on the list, the Black Prince Ruby, isn't even a ruby. It's a spinel. Regardless, what do you all think? Can jewels carry curses? Oh my gosh, why am I all blurry again? Fix it. I'll fix it. Hang in there. There we go. So, what do you think? Can a diamond curse a person? Can a pearl carry a hex? Right? What about rubies? What about sapphires? What about amethysts? Can these precious stones cause aristocratic bloodlines to suffer and die? We can only hope. But you let me know in the comments down below. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time. All right, now don't go anywhere. I do a quick pause there for editing purposes, but don't go anywhere. We got more show to go. Actually, if you're interested in dragonflies like the thumbnail shows, don't go anywhere because that's what's up next, okay? Yeah, and Bree's Bestiary, but I'm going to take an intermission because I have to go to the bathroom, and then we will dive right into that topic. All right, I'll see you back here in just a moment.
We're talking about is licking toads to get high. Now, for years, various Indians of Central America have ingested the hallucinogenic secretions of toads, but that practice, according to the Drug Enforcement Administration, is against the law. At first glance, the toad does not look like a criminal.
Lick the toad, lick the toad, lick the toad, lick the toad. They call him Narco Toad. On the street, he's also known by his alias, Bufo Marinus. He and his cousin, Bufo Alvarius, are dangerous dudes. They deal in a mind-scrambling substance that defends against intruders. It all comes from a little gland behind the toad's head.
When bitten, the toad secretes a milky white fluid from its parotid glands that can poison its attacker, making them extremely ill and sometimes causing cardiac arrest.
Watch whatever crap comes on next. Coming up next.
Live from the Hive.
The organization took to their Facebook page last week to caution visitors not to lick the Sonoran desert toad. Don't lick it. If you're wondering why anyone would want to do that, well, let's explain. Apparently, this particular species of toad secretes a psychedelic toxin that leads to hallucinations if ingested, but can also make humans really sick, leaving people incapacitated for up to 30 minutes. Well, the NPS didn't say if a particular incident prompted their public service announcement, but a recent report from the New York Times says there has been an increased demand for the poison recently. Perhaps that's the reason the Park Service felt it necessary to remind visitors not to lick toads.
Ew, gross, man. You okay?
Whoa, everything's so significant. Dude, you gotta try this.
Not even. It's got your germs on it.
Not this end.
Oh, I can see the air. And you know what else?
The hallucinogenic compound of bufotoxin sometimes do create a feeling of airiness or flying and things like that, and we believe that the witches flying around on broomsticks is probably due to the toad component of the witch's brew.
While the psychedelic bufotenine has been detected in dozens of toad species, Bufo alvarius is the only amphibian known to biosynthesize its O-methyl homolog, 5-MeO-DMT. The toad's neck and limbs carry numerous protuberant glands marked by pores through which venom is excreted from subcutaneous lobules that contain the enzyme responsible for biosynthetic conversion of bufotenine to 5-MeO-DMT, in addition to the production of other tryptamines and cardiotoxic steroids.
Ooh, check it out, man. The licking toad. Yeah, licking toad, man. Lick the toad.
The National Park Service says if you see a toad in the wild, keep your tongue in your mouth.
That substance is bitter and foul-tasting. It blocks nerve transmission. It can affect the heart. It also can get you high.
Nothing. Here we go. Yeah.
Huh? These are crystallized secretions from a toad. A substance like this killed 4 people in Australia last year. In fact, possessing the secretion with intent to use it to get high is a federal offense.
In order to do any legal action against a person, we'd have to prove drug intent, that you, like conspiracy to lick a toad or conspiracy to sell a toad to lick or something of that sort.
Anything yet? Are you sure you're licking right?
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's supposed to pack an awesome buzz.
If you want to get one of these toads, forget it. The zoo tells us that Bufo marinus is restricted in California. The toad has been introduced in places like Florida, and it's done a lot of damage there. It's also a potentially dangerous toad, and certainly one you would never want to lick. Sylvia?
Never.
Ever? Ever?
No.
Okay, thanks.
Hello, hello, my beauties and bees. It's time. It is time for Bree's Bestiary, where I pick a creature from the animal kingdom, and we learn a little bit about it as a family here in the Hive. And today, I picked one of my favorite animals and the fastest, most efficient predator on the planet, the dragonfly.
Welcome to the fascinating world of dragonflies, ancient masters of the skies, whose lineage stretches back over 300 million years. These remarkable insects have evolved into some of nature's most efficient predators, combining speed, agility, and precision in a way that few other creatures can match.
I can't think of a more efficient predator, so it's not even just some of the most efficient predators. This may be the most efficient predator, and it's been around since the freaking Carboniferous, so 500-some million years.
Today we embark on an in-depth exploration of their extraordinary...
500 million years on top. of the microcosm food chain. Suck it.
Anatomy, unique life cycle, and unparalleled hunting abilities. Dragonflies belong to the order Odonata, which includes both dragonflies and their close relatives.
I almost said suck at evolution, but dragonflies have evolved. They're different today than they were before.
Damselflies. The name Odonata comes from the Greek word for tooth, referring to their serrated mandibles. Fossil records show that prehistoric dragonflies, known as Meganisoptera, had wingspans of up to 65 centimeters.
But they weren't dragonflies, they were griffin flies. Now, come on. Not the same thing. Not the same thing. Relatives, but not the same.
Modern dragonflies are smaller, they are no less impressive in their design and capabilities. The body of a dragonfly is a masterpiece of aerodynamic engineering, divided into 3 main sections: the head, thorax, and abdomen. Each part is perfectly adapted for the dragonfly's predatory lifestyle. The head is dominated by 2 enormous compound eyes, each containing up to 30,000 individual facets called ommatidia. An ommatidium is structured like a tiny, highly specialized telescope.
And this is also like the eyes of bees and flies. Most insects have this type of eye. So what you're seeing here is the standard arrangement for compound eyes, but dragonflies may have the most efficient, and they may have the most accurate eyes in the animal kingdom.
On the surface is a transparent chitin lens, the cornea, which focuses the incoming light. Beneath lies the crystalline cone, which further concentrates the light. At the center of the ommatidium is the rhabdom, composed of light-sensitive visual cells. These convert light into electrical signals. 8 visual cells surround the rhabdom and transmit the visual information via nerve fibers to the brain. These eyes provide dragonflies with nearly 360-degree vision and the ability to detect colors and ultraviolet light invisible to humans. This exceptional vision allows them to spot potential prey or mates from a distance of up to 12 meters. The structure of their eyes includes specialized zones that enhance their ability to track movement.
You think Carcharodon megalodon was on the list of efficient predators? Maybe? Like, when I think of shark success rate, what is the, let's see. But there's modern sharks aren't feeding on pods of giant whales like megalodon was either. So it's hard to make that comparison and draw a conclusion from that. I'll allow it. Carcharodon, megalodon. But I do want to clarify that there's no such animal known as Carcharodon megalodon anymore. It's Otodus megalodon now. Otodus megalodon is the current accepted name for that. This moved into the Otodus family. And you have actually, what I love about megalodon is that it's a chronospecies, so we can actually see its evolution through the geological column from ancestor to modern megalodon in Chesapeake Bay. Why are you not playing?
Moving objects. The upper part of the eye is particularly sensitive to movement and is crucial for detecting prey
Joe.
against the backdrop of the sky. Meanwhile, the lower part of the eye is adept at distinguishing colors and patterns.
I guess it's good afternoon in Kentucky right now. It's still morning here for another 38 minutes.
Useful for identifying prey and navigating their environment. Complementing their compound eyes are 3 simple eyes, or ocelli, arranged in a triangle on top.
And mantises have these too. We were talking about mantises earlier. I just want to say that mantises have the 2 big compound eyes and then the ocelli as well. A lot of insects do. Vespids, like hornets, most flying insects benefit from this arrangement here because the ocelli help them. It's kind of like our like the pineal gland on a tuatara helps them regulate day and night cycles and that sort of stuff.
Top of their head. While not capable of forming images, these ocelli are highly sensitive to changes in light intensity, aiding in flight stabilization and horizon detection. This combination of visual systems makes dragonflies among the most visually acute creatures in the animal kingdom. The thorax of a dragonfly is a true powerhouse, housing the flight muscles that make up about 25% of the insect's body mass. Unlike most other insects, including butterflies, dragonflies use direct flight muscles. These muscles attach directly to the base of each wing, controlling 2 pairs of wings that can move independently of each other. This unique feature, shared only by dragonflies and damselflies, allows for more precise control and individual movement of each wing.
It also allows the pumping of oxygen through their spiracles and into their system. So it oxygenates their, it's not really blood, it's like a hemolith, but same difference. It serves the same function, carrying oxygen through to the various organs and such.
Contributing to their exceptional aerial agility. The indirect flight muscles of butterflies consist of two main groups: longitudinal muscles that compress the thorax from front to back, and dorsoventral muscles that compress the thorax from top to bottom. This alternating compression and relaxation of the thorax leads to the characteristic up and down wing movements of butterflies. In contrast, the direct flight muscles of dragonflies allow for much greater control over each individual wing. They can move their wings at different angles and speeds, resulting in their exceptional maneuverability.
That's why they're like tiny little helicopters. Yeah, they are beast, absolute beast. And if you hate mosquitoes, love dragonflies.
Their unique wing structure allows for 4 distinct types of wing beats, each serving a specific purpose. First, there's the counterstroke, where the forewings and hindwings beat out of phase. This is the most common pattern used for regular forward flight and providing continuous thrust. Second, we have the phased stroke, where all 4 wings beat in unison. This pattern is employed for quick accelerations and sudden changes in direction. Third, dragonflies use the double stroke during hovering. Here, the wings create figure-8 patterns, allowing the insect to remain stationary in mid-air.
I use the double stroke on OnlyFans, so check that out with the link that BugBot dropped.
Lastly, there's the gliding phase, where dragonflies hold their wings still and glide, conserving energy during long flights or when riding thermal currents. This versatility in wing movement, combined with the ability to control each wing independently, gives dragonflies their unparalleled agility in the air, making them one of nature's most accomplished flyers. Some species can reach speeds of up to 33 miles per hour, making them one of the fastest flying insects. Inside the dragonfly,
I always wondered how fast that griffin flies could go. The ones that the big ones that were huge, if they were faster or slower than modern dragonflies.
We find a set of highly efficient organs. The digestive system is optimized for their predatory lifestyle, quickly processing captured prey. The circulatory system is open with hemolymph, the insect equivalent of blood, flowing freely within the body cavity. Oxygen is delivered directly to tissues through a network of tracheal tubes, allowing for the high energy demands of their aerial acrobatics. The nervous system of a dragonfly is a testament,
and the pumping of the wing helps with respiration,
to nature's engineering. The brain, though small, processes visual information at incredible speeds. Specialized neurons can detect even minute movements, allowing the dragonfly to react to potential prey or threats in milliseconds. This rapid processing, combined with their extraordinary vision, makes dragonflies formidable hunters. The mating of dragonflies is a unique and complex process.
This is my favorite part, is the development of dragonflies, because they basically transform through different animals. It's really interesting.
Dragonflies possess 2 sets of reproductive organs: primary genitalia at the tip of the abdomen, which produce sperm, and secondary genitalia on the second abdominal segment. Interestingly, before mating, the male must transfer sperm from his primary to his secondary genitalia. Females have a single genital opening at the tip of their abdomen. Inside the slender abdomen are the ovaries. From here, delicate oviducts.
Mayflies are not predators. Mayflies don't even have mouths in their adult form. I think you're probably thinking of the damselflies. But yeah, amazing predators, dragonflies and damselflies. Well, I'll be taking a long weekend off over Easter. So, Atheist Carpenter, hello and good morning.
Lead to the genital opening. During mating, the male grasps the female behind her head with claspers at the end of his abdomen, forming the characteristic heart position. The female then curls her abdomen forward to connect with the male's secondary genitalia. This heart-shaped formation allows for sperm transfer. During copulation, specialized structures with small hooks on the male's aedeagus can remove sperm from previous partners from the female's spermatheca, increasing his chances of paternity. This intricate mating process can last from a few seconds to several hours, depending on the species, and showcases the remarkable adaptations dragonflies have developed for reproductive success. The life cycle of a dragonfly is no less remarkable than its adult form. After mating, females lay eggs in or near water. These eggs hatch into aquatic larvae, or nymphs, which are fearsome predators in their own right. Armed with an extendable lower lip.
Their freaking jaws are so cool on these little guys. They go whoosh, whoosh, and just destroy. Yeah.
Called a labium, or mask. These nymphs can snatch prey with lightning speed. The larval stage can last from a few months to several years, during which time the nymph will molt multiple times, shedding its exoskeleton as it grows. The nymphs are patient hunters, often lying in wait camouflaged among aquatic plants or buried in sediment. When prey comes within range, the labial mask is extended with explosive force, grabbing the target with sharp hooks at its tip. This adaptation allows dragonfly nymphs to prey on a variety of aquatic organisms, including mosquito larvae, small fish, and even tadpoles. To truly appreciate the hunting prowess of dragonflies, it's instructive to compare their success rate to other predators. With a hit rate of about 95%, dragonflies far outstrip many larger and seemingly more fearsome hunters. Great white sharks often considered...
Oh, it's actually going to bring up the shark stat, so I didn't need to. We're not Megalodon, because we can't be sure.
...the ocean's top predator, have a success rate of about 50%. Lions, the kings of the jungle, succeed in only about 25% of their hunts. Leopards fare slightly better at 38%, but still fall far short of the dragonfly's efficiency. The feared king cobra, with its lethal venom, has a success rate of only 10 to 30% when hunting. Even among other insects known for their predatory...
And you're overlooking... You do lion and leopard, but you overlook cheetah, which is really the most successful cat in Africa when it comes to hunting. It's unfortunate that they're not as successful about, being able to hold on to their prey, because these two, lions and leopards and hyenas and African wild dogs, they will come along and steal the cheetah's kill. But cheetahs are the most efficient, I believe. Someone fact check that for me. I'd love to be proven wrong on my live stream. It's like, seriously, I like that kind of stuff. So
skills, dragonflies stand out. Black widow spiders, with their potent venom, have a success rate of 50 to 60%. Dragonflies are also known for their ability to hunt in swarms.
And yeah, keep in mind that dragonflies, damselflies, they don't have any venom. They're just using their mechanical abilities. And dragonflies will actually stick mosquitoes all over their legs and then land and eat them.
Particularly when abundant prey is available. During mass emergencies of flying ants or termites, dragonflies can gather in large numbers, creating a feeding frenzy that can significantly impact local insect populations. Perhaps most impressively, dragonflies possess the ability to predict the future position of their prey. By calculating the speed and trajectory of their target, they can adjust their own flight path to intercept with remarkable accuracy. This predictive ability, known as internal forward models, is so advanced that it rivals some of the most sophisticated missile guidance systems developed by humans. As if their hunting abilities weren't impressive enough, dragonflies also possess remarkable endurance. Some species are known to migrate over vast distances, with one species, the globe skimmer, Pantala flavescens, known to cross the Indian Ocean, a journey of about 9 to 11,000 miles. This incredible feat is made possible by their efficient flight muscles and their ability to glide on air currents, conserving energy over long...
There's the Maldives and the Seychelles and the Cocos, right? Here.
Distances.
No, the Cocos are on the other side.
As we conclude our journey through the world
Ocean.
of dragonflies, we're left with a profound appreciation for these incredible insects, whose extraordinary abilities not only make them successful in their ecological niche, but also remind us of the intricate balance of nature. In an era when biodiversity is threatened worldwide, dragonflies serve as a shining example of the beauty, complexity, and importance of even the smallest creatures in our ecosystem, inspiring us to protect and preserve the complex interconnections of life on our planet. Thank you for joining this journey. Fascinated by the dragonfly's anatomy? Check out my playlist to discover my 3D animations of spiders, snakes, octopuses, the senses of the great white shark, and butterflies. Or dive into the world of beverage production.
Hell yeah, this is a good channel.
With my videos on whiskey, rum, vodka, wine, beer, and coffee.
That's for Ben.
Subscribe to my channel for more exciting insights into nature and technology. Which animal or drink should I feature next? Let me know in the comments. See you next time.
All right, that was Dragonflies, brought to us by Explanation Avenue 3D animation by Oliver End. He has some cool animations and stuff going on down here. From ants, we got of course, we just watched dragonflies, sharks, spiders, butterflies, scorpions. Yeah, lots of cool critters. So I may revisit this channel at some point and explore deeper. But yeah, that's going to be it for Bree's Bestiary as far as the dragonflies go. Did you learn a little bit of something about dragonflies today? I sure did. If not, then yeah, come check out this channel. And when you open up that dragonfly link, there's some more videos that I couldn't share because they're from like PBS and National Geographic stuff that you can't like cover on a stream. But I digress. What's your favorite successful predator? Let me know in the comments down below. And please remember to be kind, take care, and we'll see you next time. Oh. All right, my beautiful hive. So wraps up Live from the Hive this Saturday, on March 29th. Next week, we're going to, on Wednesday night, we have the Cabbage Patch conspiracy from Tartaria. So the Cabbage Patch babies are going to be, we're going to crack that nut. Hopefully you'll enjoy that. That's Wednesday night at, let's see, it's 8 Mountain. So that's going to be 7 Central, 6 Eastern, it's PM. And then, 9 Pacific. But in 0 hour, midnight in the UK, if that's where you are. But that'll be on Wednesday. And then Friday night, back to Cryptic Corner. Next week's Friday night Cryptic Corner is the Infield Horror from Enfield, Illinois, my home state. Well, I can't call Illinois my home state. I sometimes I do. I'm from the border of Missouri and Illinois. I'm actually from like a Mississippi River culture that's on both sides of the river, from St. Louis to St. Paul. That's that culture, right? That's where I come from. But so the state doesn't really matter except for legislation wise. But yeah, I was born in Missouri, on the Missouri side of the river, and I became an adult, and my kids grew up to be teenagers. Then we moved to the other side of the river and lived in Illinois, But now I'm in Texas. Doesn't really matter. But Infield, which was what we're going to cover for the Infield horror, is closer to the Chicago side of things and the St. Louis side of things, so it's further from home. No, it's 10. So 6 Eastern, 7 Central, 8 Mountain, 9 Pacific, right? Am I right? That should be right. Six, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that should be the right. I believe that's what time most of my premieres are. On Wednesday and Friday, I do premieres. Yes, we should talk bugs sometime, Joe. Absolutely. Been on Joe's channel talking cryptids before, but never talking bugs. So we could definitely put something on the books for that. Also, I hit up Ryan and Maya about doing a telepathy tapes for April Fool's Day. 7, 8, 9. Yeah. That's why 6 was afraid of 7. Absolutely. But that's what we have for the show, or for the premieres next week. We'll have new polls up, which is going to be fun because of our Weird With It. We're going to have 2 new options for the polls. So look for that poll. I post it on my community post on YouTube, and I'll drop a link to my Discord server at HiveSci, and then I will drop a link also into the Discord server on the transpositions. And if you're a fan of the transpositions, please help us out by giving us some watch hours if you can. If you got a computer or TV that's just sitting in another room, put on an episode of the Transpositions or Transpositions playlist and just let it play through, because we're really trying to get those 3,000 watch hours. We're way ahead. I mean, we already blew the 500 subscribers out of the water. We're like 615 or something like that. So we don't need more subscribers right this month. Obviously, we always need more subscribers. We need more watch hours. We need more viewers. I'm trying to get Katie to come on, either to do a pre-recorded interview or to come on live, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, so that's what I got planned for this week. So watch for the polls on the website, on the community page for Hive. Also, I post funny memes and stuff there that you should just look at and enjoy anyway. I'm pretty good at memeing. Anyhow, I appreciate everybody who's stuck around. I still have almost 30 of y'all watching at this point. So yeah, and then we've been going for over 3 hours now. So really do appreciate everybody who sticks around, everybody who donates, or gifts memberships. We had like Hoosier, Regios, and Ember all dropped channel memberships. Unfortunately, Regios has got away from me before I could announce them, so I apologize for that, and now I can't go back and see them. But I appreciate all of you all and everybody who wants to be a channel member. We'll keep on trucking here in the Hive. Hell or high water, I will be here every week that I can. Every Saturday morning, even if I can't make a live show, which is very, very rare, I generally have something scheduled, or I redirect you guys to somebody else who will fill in that time spot for me. But I love you all. It's been great. Been a fabulous. See you next time.
As you're born, they make you feel small by giving you no time instead of it all, till the pain is so big you feel nothing at all. A working class hero is something to be. A working class hero is something to be. They hurt you at home, they hit you at school. They hate you if you're clever and they despise a fool. Till you're so fucking crazy you can't follow the rules. A working class hero is something to be. A working class hero is something to be. When they've tortured and scared you for 20-odd years, well then they expect you to pick a career. When you can't really function, you're so full of fear. Said a working class hero is something to be. Yes, a working class hero is something to be.
With all the noise, pseudoscience, and political rhetoric clogging the airwaves about transgender people, it can be difficult to understand what's really happening and what's really true. Good news, everyone! Welcome to The Transpositions, your compass in the rugged landscape of transgender issues. Here, we strive to be the beacon of authenticity, providing a platform that amplifies the voices and experiences of the transgender community. From breaking news to in-depth features to breaking down the real science, we are committed to fostering understanding, empathy, and empowerment for all individuals across the gender spectrum. Join us as we navigate the complexities, celebrate the triumphs, and advocate for the rights of transgender people worldwide. Together, we can redefine boundaries, challenge stereotypes, and champion inclusivity. Subscribe today. The link is in the description.